And hello, everyone. Welcome to the 8th session, I'm pretty sure, of Regiment on the Run. If I haven't gotten my counting wrong, then we are good to go for this wonderful, wonderful new adventure. On today's adventure, we are following the protagonist squad as they head through an underground tunnel called an underway. They bartered for the information last session with a dwarvish caravan full of racists, also known as dwarves, but you know.
Just one racist.
Yes, just one racist.
Well, two if you count her.
One confirmed racist.
And also one thief who tried to steal a bunch of stuff from you.
He could have just asked, and I would have stabbed him in the hands with the crystal for free.
Yeah, but then Zann wouldn't have been able to have fun.
Yeah. Well, sadism aside, and threatening people's lives, and etc., we are heading down southeast because this is where the tunnel goes. It emerges in basically the heart of the desert. The question arises of why you're taking this route, and the reason is simple. Because there is a horde of undead on your tail, and you need to lose them. And so, if you manage to get through this quickly enough, you should be able to pass by and not have them following you anymore, which will be great. The unfortunate thing is that you're going to have to rush through this tunnel, and there's a bit of a complication. So, I'm going to flip over to the new map in just a moment, because I need to put a single token down here.
Not single tokens in your town today.
I know, right? Welcome to the map that we're going to be using for most of the session. This will be mostly a hand wave. Do not take this at literal face value. But as you guys are going...
Look at Pebble!
I know, right? So, welcome to the map. Pebble is here in order to check your paperwork, because after you enter into the inconspicuous cave, that is, of course, the entryway for this underground road, Pebble has a few words for you. He's set up in a little station that looks like it is, part guard station, part, shack that he lives in full time. He's not got a great employment scheme, dudes. I just gotta be level with you. Like, the amount that he gets paid is probably less than they earn by having people come through the tunnels, and they do not get much from people coming through the tunnels.
So what you're saying is we could bribe him.
What I'm saying is that 100 people come up to this rather narrow and small tunnel that he has been guarding uneventfully for the past 2 months. The last customer was a month ago. And now, over 100 people are here. And Pebble is looking at this with an expression of, what the fuck do I do now?
Terry will walk over, and surprisingly enough, Terry takes out his clipboard, flips it open, and pulls out some fancy-looking papers.
Pebble takes the papers, clearly not looking at them, and says, your approval seems to be in order, sirs.
Terry just then will take his papers back and say, thank you.
Pebble seems like a deer caught in the headlights for a moment. Blink, 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 blink. Excuse me, I do want to ask one question.
What is it?
Of course.
Oh.
Is one of you named T.R. Locke?
There's a small pause before Terry goes, yes, that is me.
Zann just stares at Terry. That's your name?
Terry looks over and goes, of course. No one knows how to pronounce it, so I just tell you all to call me Terry.
I mean, I don't have lips, so I appreciate that.
Or just looks at you narrow-eyed. He doesn't believe for a second that's your real name.
Of course not. It's got an apostrophe in there. That's an elf name.
You know it's a fantasy name when it's got an apostrophe in it.
A fantasy elf name.
Anyway, Pebble reaches under the little desk that he's sitting behind and says, I think I have a message for you?
Terry will take the letter and look at it. Is there any kind of stamp on it?
There is no stamp on the letter that anyone else would recognize. Terry recognizes it as one of the code marks from the College of Whispers. This is open immediately, but not well observed.
Terry feels Zan's and Ert's eyes like burrowing into the back of his head.
It is also notable that when Terry grabs the letter, it is a little bit weightier than you thought, and there's a faint sloshing noise.
Interesting.
Great.
Better check it for alchemist fire. Give it.
Terry just goes, no, I've got this.
Zan asks, is this a private letter? Do I need to take care of Ert?
Terry, yes, please.
All right.
Well, Ert needs to make sure Katie's going to fit in here. Clearance does not look adequate.
Yeah, Ert, how about you take care of that?
Yeah,
Ert hands you a mold earth rune, Zan. Get working.
Terry is gonna walk his way over to the rubble over here. Just,
okay.
to stay out of the way of everybody. Like, so even if they're watching him read his letter, they can't actually read it behind his shoulder.
Okay. So Terry, you pop open the letter, and you find that it is a series of instructions from the College of Whispers. It is written in, a special thieves' cantish thing, except that it's for bards, so it's like bards can't. It is a special letter telling you that your presence is required very soon. It is telling you the location. It is not far off. It's actually inside the tunnel. There will be a small crack in the wall on the right, and you are expected to drink one of the potions contained within the envelope. There are 3 potions within the envelope. And enter in while under the shrink spell that is contained within the potion. It also notes that there have been some incidents of potion bottles becoming cracked and broken, so they included a couple of spares. And if any of the spares are broken, please make sure that Pebble suffers.
Are any of the spares broken?
No, all 3 potions are in perfect order.
Wonderful.
Zan,
All right.
sensing that he missed on hurting somebody, kind of lowers his shoulders a little bit dejectedly. He doesn't know why. He just feels like he missed an opportunity.
Terry is gonna pocket the potions, and then he is going to head over to the squad after a little bit of thought.
All right.
Hurt, are you checking the level of the tunnel?
He's
to the
surveying the
left.
land.
We're doing a tunnel survey.
Meanwhile, Pebble just watching on in like, the fuck?
Zan calls
Terry
up a toad to do the thing instead.
No, Terry, no, Toad, come back. Terry was
Oh,
gonna
okay, fine.
Terry was gonna look to Toad and go, "Can you please find me Pep and York?"
Toad gives a nod and scampers off in order to find them. So, this is going to be the gimmick for today's session. We are going to have 2 separate adventures that play out in shifts, basically. And we're going to flip from one to the other on certain plot beats. And so, Terry, or rather Becky, is going to play as Terry down below and is also going to play as Toad up above. And as for Zach and Shuggy, they are going to play York and Pep, helping Terry down below. So, York and Pep are here and wondering what the hell is up. And also, why is Ert getting out the surveying equipment?
Terry, we need to distract him for a minute. I would like to hire your services.
All right, York immediately, like before you've even finished the sentence, says 200 gold for this one.
Well,
Terry, I didn't even tell you what I need you to do.
my man.
You are talking yourself up right now.
York gives a nod and says, yeah, you're right, 400 gold.
Terry just waves a hand and is like, it is not that dangerous. I just need you to come
500.
with me.
As soon as you said it's not that dangerous, he immediately spiked the price.
Terry looks to Pep and just goes, I just need you 2 there in case anything happens.
All right, so let's get into the habit of having Zach and Shoggy play as these characters. So, York and Pep, you have been given this offer.
York's still holding out for 500 here. This is pretty obviously some spy shit, because it's the elf spy. Right, Pep?
Does York even think that Terry's an elf spy? This is
York
because
raises his
Urge
voice.
thinks
Everyone
it.
in this room who thinks Terry is an elf spy, raise your hand.
The entire army raises their hands.
Pep doesn't, just because
That
Pep
was out of
likes Terry.
character. That was out of character, dude.
Y-
I'm pretty sure it's like only orc. I'm pretty sure it's really only
The
that
problem
thinks
is
that
Erd has
Terry
been
is a.
publicly referring to you as elf spy since the beginning of the game.
And who believes Ert?
York?
I'm sure there's a couple guys. York would definitely believe her because he's York. But soldiers would probably be a little smarter than that. Maybe a little, maybe most of them would be.
The soldiers think Erd just doesn't understand what political officer means.
Quick question: how much gold does Terry have or is supposed to have?
Well,
Uh,
we have our military budget. You currently have 4,250 gold.
Okay,
So you could easily spare 500.
Terry is not doing 500. He will settle for the original 200. Maybe
Yes, the
3.
original 250.
the original 2,500. Yes, yes.
York
So
just
it's the
stares at you for
initial
a second,
200,
Terry.
maybe 300 if they do a good job. And keep their mouths shut over everything they see.
York just looks at you, Terry, and is like, sticking my neck out costs extra. That's all. He's just leaving it at that.
Pep kind of looks over to York and says, York, do you even know how to count?
York just stares back at Pep and is like, 1x, 2x, 3x.
I don't think you've
I feel
ever
like
gotten to
this
300
specific
axes.
York is running at less brain power.
No, York is just fucking with Pep.
Yeah, this is
York is
literally just
mod.
banter.
Actually, let's double check this. What is York's int?
York's int is 8. So he's not stupid, but he is a little bit dimmer than some.
He is just grumpy.
Yes, he's mostly just done with people's
He's
bullshit.
like country smart.
Yep. What about Pep?
Pep is a 10 int. She's got 14 wisdom and 22 dex.
Ooh, what's York's wisdom?
Less than
I need
14.
the sheet open. 1 second.
Yeah, why don't you have the sheet open?
Well, because I have Ertz on the second screen. So let me get
York is
York's.
12 wisdom.
I don't. Oh, there's Toad. Okay, I do have Toad's sheet too.
But no, I need this sheet up for real. 1 second.
Yeah, so here's the gimmick with Toad. Toad's base stats are great, and he's decent at pretty much everything. It's just that he doesn't actually have any class skills yet, because he's just a little babby.
So he's a fighter. I got it.
He
Okay.
needs to eat. He needs to eat more people.
Exactly. And that is the only thing that is preventing you from collecting all the Pokemon.
So now here's the thing with Toad that I have decided that he is small. He is excited about everything because it's a whole brand new world, but he is also extremely hungry.
Doesn't he know Eldritch Blast?
Yes, he does know
Yes.
Eldritch
Okay.
Blast. That is not a class skill. That is a class feature.
Oh.
All right. So, Terry, York, and Pep. I want the negotiation to proceed.
We've already agreed to the 250.
Yeah. Pep likes Terry, so Pep's not going to try to hike it up too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Terry, do you agree to 250?
Terry will agree to 250.
Okay, now you're at an even 4K.
All right.
Zann calls out to Pep, "Don't forget my cut!"
And what does Pep respond with?
Oh, yeah, that's right, I'm both. This is gonna take some getting used to.
Well, to be fair, your characters are not going to be on the same scene for very long.
Yeah. Pep just winks at Zann and doesn't say anything.
York
By the way-
elbows Terry. Terry, don't forget the bird's cut.
Real quick, if I remember right, was it Pep that Terry was teaching a couple of bardic spells to?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why Pep is being nice to Terry.
Yes.
He's actually shown human kindness.
Elven kindness.
Okay, so what do we do now?
All right. So, now that this whole business has been concluded,
Yeah.
Terry,
I was gonna-
York, and... go ahead.
I was gonna say Terry goes up to the other two real quick and goes, I need to go on a little errand. I'm taking York and Pep with me. Looks to Zann and goes, You're in charge.
Zann looks at Terry and is like, "I'm always in charge. What are you talking about? Also, don't break them. If you lose either of them, I will be very unhappy."
And just Terry just waves a hand and goes, "It won't be dangerous."
Ert looks out from his behind the surveyor. He's like, "Is it underground?"
And just Terry looks over and just, yes, but not in the way that you think.
Hmm. He pulls out his new toy, a lantern of revealing. It is just a lantern, except it reveals invisibility.
True.
It is painted high vis orange. He hands it to you.
It's OSHA orange.
Yeah, straight up.
Terry just pauses and says, "Thank you."
Now, you may be wondering where Ert got the orange
Ert
coloring.
goes back, and he gets back a 30-page feedback packet. Report accurately.
Ebel?
Okay, so Terry, do you accept the lantern?
Yep. Just Terry's. Just like, remember, Zann, because now I'm gone and you're in charge, in charge. Points to Ert. You're responsible for him.
I feel like if he ever does anything bad and you're here, you'd still make me responsible for him. I feel
Well,
like
yes,
nothing's changed.
but Terry is reminding you that it's still your job even when Terry's not there.
Oh. Zann looks over to Terry and says, "Don't worry, if anything happens, he'll be the one that gets hurt."
And do keep an eye on Sethlin. She can usually take care of herself, but if she comes to you, please help her.
I'll
I'll
just
pay you back.
I'll help her if she needs it, but for now I'll just task the former bandits duo to help her out.
Also, was it Sethlin or Kethlin?
Kethlin.
Sethlin. I always thought it was a Sethlin because it starts with a C, not a K.
Well, we'd have to actually run back the recordings if we actually wanted to
But
check.
you guys have been saying Kethlin. I got it wrong, so it is Kethlin.
Okay, so with all that resolved, let's have York, Terry, and Pep head off to their particular adventure as Ert, Zann, and Toad begin their journey. But as a very brief aside to give you an impression of what is happening with the Terry squad. So, Terry, you guys head over, you find the particular crack with a little bit of assistance from Pep, and it is rather small. Only the vaguely College of Whisper-like markings on the wall inform you that it is where you need to go. So, are you guys ready to head on through and find what awaits for you on the other side?
Yes, Terry hands the other two their potions and just says, "Drink this," as he drinks his own.
Okay, I was about to say,
Okay.
does Terry drink first? Guess if
Yeah.
not.
York, as soon as he's sure Terry is drinking it, York drinks his.
Pep waits just a second to see what happens and then downs hers as well.
Okay, so this is a potion of enlarge reduce on steroids. So Terry shrinks down to the size of very, very small.
Oh yes, that's the size.
We have basically become, Minish Cat?
Yes, you're minish now.
Diminutive. I like that.
Well, that's actually the technical term in Pathfinder 1E, but you know. So Terry has become this size. York and Pep also shrink down. And with that, you all fit fairly easily through the crack. And then you find on the other side that there are a maze of new tunnels. And after following them for quite a while, it's,
Following the instructions on the letter.
follow the instructions on the letter, you eventually get to what looks like an abandoned dwarvish tavern that still appears to be in use, at least a little bit. So, you guys appear on the foot of this tavern, and you return to full size. Don't worry, you'll be given another potion for the return journey, probably.
Probably. Any giant rats or mice in the tunnels? I say giant, but like normal size that we have to fight off.
Yes, and all of them run away from you in terror.
They've seen this before. They have survival instincts.
Yeah, like one time, one of them actually managed to eat someone who was shrunk down like that, and the spell wore off.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Ugh. Anyway,
Inside.
York is arguing in the background with Pep about whether it constitutes an abandoned tavern if there's still people in it.
Yeah.
So, Terry, York, and
I'm just saying, they call it a dive.
so Terry, York, and Pep, you are approaching the entryway to this tavern, and you will find out what lies within in a bit. Because first things first, we are going to go up to Toad, Ert, and Zann. So here's the way that this is going to work. You guys have some encounters that are scripted along this adventure, but there's also the Wheel of Tunnel Incidents.
Nice.
Yes.
Please
so,
tell me there's an actual wheel.
I like to think that Pebble spins the wheel as we walk in the tunnel. Just every 30
yeah,
minutes.
that's actually something that Ethel has to come out of his little guard post in order to tell you about. Because, see, there's a bit of a problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is, well, first of all, you appear to be, carving new walls and ceiling and floors on the tunnel as you travel. Not that Pebble would stop you, because, of course, he doesn't have the authority to do that. But see, the problem is that the dwarves haven't really been getting a whole lot of money from this arrangement, so they've made a couple of contacts.
Okay.
They're called the and he stumbles over the word, the Sverfneblin, the deep gnomes. They just call them the deep gnomes.
Okay.
And they're working on surveying and maintaining the tunnel. And Pebble says that they are working under dwarvish authority. And one of the things that they've instituted is tolls.
Zan looks around at the giant piles of rubble throughout the tunnel and says, "They're doing a really crappy job of maintaining this tunnel."
They only started about a couple of months ago.
I see. Okay.
Ert's just surveying and goes, generally shoddy work. What we really need here is to get the whole crew in and get everything shored up. And I'm thinking 30 meters. What about you, Zach? Zann, Bird, Toad.
Zach. Who's Zach? 30 meters high, like height?
Diameter,
Ah.
fully circular. I like the
Oh.
circular floors. It makes for good draining.
I think maybe we go half circle. I think we go 15-foot radius for a half
Inefficient.
circle. We'll talk about this later. Pebble, tolls. What about?
Tolls. Pebble says that the Sverfneblin are charging small fees to people who come through in order to promote tunnel maintenance, and they have been actually working on addressing some of the flaws. And again, they are working with the full authority of the dwarves. But
Ert suddenly perks up. Ah, excellent. We are contractors. Get moving, boys.
You are?
Yep, they're going to pay us twice what they would have charged us. They're going to love their new tunnel.
Pebble has an extremely dubious look on his face, but he is not speaking up about this. And he says, then I'm sure that all of your paperwork will be in order, because they are really big on their paperwork.
Inefficient. We use runic tablets.
Okay. I'm sure all your runic tablets will be in order.
Ert nods sagely. They always are.
Zan is a little concerned about this, but as he walks by Pebble and as he leads the troop further in, he says, "Oh, by the way, if a giant horde of undead come through this tunnel and ask about us, tell them that we went down the other tunnel."
Pebble gives a nod and says, okay, I'll direct them towards the nearest other tunnel, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Pebble. You're so smart.
Good life choice.
Good life choice. As
Okay. I gotta get back to my post now. Pebble looks about to ask if all of you really have access, but then decides not to.
did we show him our papers?
No. Rather,
Terry
Terry
did.
gave him papers. He did not see them.
Is he blind?
No, he was just fixated on how, after several months of there not being any customers at all, there are suddenly 100 and a crystal. and also they're reforming the tunnel.
Well,
Well, yeah, the crystal wasn't fitting. Like, you don't expect us to turn Katie on her side. That is not dignified, not even slightly.
Lung Thunk in the background says, "But I could totally do that, though."
Thank you, Long Thunk.
You sure you don't want me to?
Okay, fine. Get him in here. We'll have him crawl the whole way.
Okay.
I'll call your bluff, DM.
how tall is the pylon?
The pylon is about 15 feet tall.
Okay, we're making. I mean, the tunnel. How tall is the underway?
The underway is about 10 feet tall, which is
Oh,
for most caravans.
that's teeny. Holy smokes!
Yeah, the
Yeah,
underway is the size of this rail we're standing on right now. This is why
yeah.
Erd has the equipment out.
Zan looks to Urt is like, let's go with a 10-meter high tunnel. 10-meter high tunnel. Let's do that.
10 meters,
Yeah,
semicircle. Got it.
semicircle. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to need you to keep things in order, and I'm going to need, 2 squads and Katie at the front. And Bubbles.
And
What?
I have to know, what is Toad's take on all this?
Soda's just kind of wondering why we're lying.
We're lying?
What are we
But
lying
he's not
about?
lying about the rebuild, being here to rebuild the tunnels. He thought we were just traveling, but he's not saying any of this.
Oh,
No,
Zan.
no. This
Zan
is
doesn't
called
think we're
a
lying.
good deed.
Zan doesn't think we're lying. Zan thinks that Urt really thinks that he's here to rebuild the tunnel. Zan might not be here to rebuild the tunnel, but Zan's pretty sure that Urt thinks he's here to rebuild the tunnel. All right,
Yep.
folks, let's get moving.
Okay. Ert hands Toad a mold earthring. Get molding.
So
Alright.
just okay.
So,
And he walks over to just a random little spot and just starts building a little hill. He's trying to build like a little hut for himself with the Molder room.
Ert just looks at him and goes, they're so precious when they're young.
okay. So, Ert, Toad, and Zan, it is time for your first roll on the tunnel events wheel. I will tell you right now that the higher you roll, the better you get. And
no.
you already fucked it.
Hey, whoa, you
Is
rolled it.
that the middle finger one on the wheel?
I didn't roll it. You rolled it. I wanted to roll the wheel.
Ert's just looking at the wheel and is like, why is that one a middle finger?
All right, so Ert, you witness as Pebble rolls the hypothetical wheel that does not actually exist, and as you continue, you encounter some rather immediate problems. As Ert is tunneling out all of his earth, there is a disturbance, because it turns out that the tunnel was this small for a reason.
Because dwarfs are short.
Yeah, there was a fault line around one of these bends, and it turns out that when you try to mold Earth a fault line, it disturbs things, and there's a rock fall. Okay, so this is the tunnel collapse event. Everyone must make a dexterity saving throw or an athletics check. The DC is 17.
Oh boy,
Ouch.
okay, so what do I roll for? I have to just roll a dex saving throw for Toad, don't I?
Yes, and one moment, please. I just want to check if they have proficiency in dexterity saves, but I don't think they do.
You plebeians rolling less than 17 on a dex
Yeah,
saving throw.
saving throws for Toad are Wisdom and Charisma. So unfortunately, this is just going to be Dex.
Okay. Alright, so rolling for Toad. Gonna hit dex. No!
So
He
here
net
is-
one! Toad!
That's fine. Don't worry. We're not counting nat ones in this particular instance. I will count them in other instances, though. So here is what happens. Because Zann succeeded the saving throw, you take only 5 casualties.
Oh, my people, our soldiers are getting hit. Okay.
Yeah, your soldiers are getting hit by the rockfall. So now you are down to 77 effective manpower.
Are the rest alive or just crushed under rubble?
No, they're just injured.
Like, we get them dug out pretty quickly, but no one likes being compressed into a 1-foot cube.
Toad is actually kind of upset. A little disappointed.
Does he want to eat some of the soldiers?
Ert just looks
Toad
at
is
Toad and
hungry.
is like, where is your helmet?
Toad just looks to Ert and just goes, "You didn't give me one."
Where's your helmet, you bald man?
Ert has his built into his skull.
Okay. Zan's just really glad that he dodged out of the way of the rocks because his hollow bones would not have taken very much of that.
Okay.
Does Ert then place a helmet on Toad?
If I had a helmet token, I would place one on Toad.
Oh, ask ye shall
There it
receive.
is.
All right.
Zann does not get a helmet token.
Zan does not want a helmet token.
That's why Zann does not get one.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that is the first roll of our tunnel events, and that is the worst one because there is nothing good about it whatsoever.
Wonderful.
The good part is getting it figured out right here at the start. So the secret is we need to prop up the ceiling here with mold earth runes with a little bit of battery built into them.
Mm-hmm. So with that, we are going to cut over to Terry, York, and Pep.
All right.
So Terry, York, and Pep, you are up at the entrance of this dive, apparently.
Do we feel the earth shake as the rock fall?
I
in
could
the air?
feel the quotes in that numbers.
Yes, you could. And yes, you also do feel the earth shake as Ert fucks things up.
York holds up a hand and he goes, 5. I'm betting 5 casualties.
Pep looks over to York and Terry and is like, that's probably Ert again.
Harry just nods. I'll assess the damage once we get back.
Ert's just sitting there with his hand up. No takers?
No.
Pep looks over and says, I'm not losing my share again.
You're no fun.
And as you are all discussing this on the doorstep of this dive, there are some footsteps, and the door opens, and there is a little child. No, it's probably a halfling, although it looks a hell of a lot like a child. And he looks up brightly at Terry and says, "Oh, hi, Terry. You were supposed to come alone."
Just Terry, just the castle. Sorry, not the castle. The cavern is quite treacherous. There were rats.
Did you hear that shit? I think 5 people died in it. Any takers?
Oh my god.
The little halfling shakes his head and says, "Well, there wasn't anything in the letter that said that you had to, but I guess it's just what we were expecting. Oh well, come on in, all of you."
And of course, Terry walks in with the other two.
All right, and the little halfling does a little spin, and he says, "Welcome to the Tattered Tankard."
That's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Mayor gives a smile and says, "It's a little bit on the nose, but hey, this is a place where we don't have to hide anything, right?"
Makes for the fact you don't have one.
"What, a tankard?"
A nose.
He giggles and says, "Oh, it's still growing in, don't you worry."
Uh,
Terry just goes, yeah, so how about we take a seat, have a pint, and we discuss things.
Well, you gave the order, boss.
All right, you are introduced to these 3 NPCs, Alia the Diplomat, Mayor the Kindly, and Riss the Gentle. These guys are all bards, and they all put on their kindest faces as you enter in. Terry knows these people are from the College of Whispers. They are not nearly as nice as they seem.
But Terry does not tell York or Pep because that's one of the rules of the college, is that you can't really out your fellow classmates or alumni.
Mhm.
Pep is just put off by the fact that everyone's smiling. It's really unsettling for her.
York asks if this is real pie.
Uh, you are informed that it is, in fact, real pie. It was about a day ago. Still should be good.
York eats the pie.
You have a delicious pie. Meanwhile, Riss steps up to Pep and says, "Is something putting you off, ma'am?"
You guys are all really creepy.
Riss chuckles a bit and says, "Sorry about that. Sometimes we can give off an odd impression. I know it can be a little bit much."
From over at the pie, York informs him it's because they're spies.
And just Terry, just we're not spies. just him and the dwarf that I've been traveling with have it in their heads. It's just because I'm so friendly. The college we're all from, we're alumni. That's why we're happy to see each other.
Alia says,
Mm.
in all fairness, I do think my job description could be read as spy. It's my job to handle diplomatic incidents between people, and sometimes that goes a little bit awry. And so, of course, whenever fingers start being pointed, everyone accuses me of being a spy no matter what.
Just Terry. That is troublesome.
It is. But
Orc nods. We just say Terry's a spy because he's an elf.
Just
Wait.
Terry.
Well, that's what York heard. Ert said Terry's a spy because he's an elf.
Mayor looks up to York with big pleading eyes and he says, you think people are spies just because of what they are?
For the record,
Definitely you.
whoa, York's not racist, and Pep is a halfling too.
No, this is a
Copying.
halfling looking up at you with a winsome expression. If there's
Okay.
anything that is a spy, it's this.
That's fair.
York is just sitting here going, this is the most spy shit I've ever done.
So, of course, York has informed Mayor that he is definitely a spy, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at you, kid.
Mayor,
Like, I bet
gives
you
a
have
laugh.
shanked like 30 people.
Mayor gives a laugh, hops up on the little countertop. It is an
York
impressive.
yanks the pie away.
Yeah. York yanks the pie away, and Mayor just says, like I said, this is a place where we don't have to hide anything. Yeah, I'm a spy.
And York eats another bite of pie. Yes, we have established this.
Mayor gives a grin and says, what? Didn't you want to know whether you were right?
Pep calls across. It was pretty obvious. You guys aren't very good at not looking like spies.
Mayor gives a laugh and says, again, this is the place where we don't have to hide what we are.
York just does not get why they're still talking to him.
Right, so Terry's gonna walk over to a chair, take his cloak off, sit down, motion that the others can join him, and just like, is there anyone in the back kitchen, or is it just us today?
Reese turns to you and says, it is just us for now. We weren't really expecting you to have extra guests. He turns back to Pep and says, by the way, ma'am, would you like anything?
Pep just stands by the entrance and says, "No thanks. I'm just going to keep watch." And
York
stands there.
found another pie. Terry, you want some pie?
They're just Terry, I would actually love a slice of pie.
All right. So Reese says that Pep's cautions are completely warranted. He'll be off to attending to his own business for a little while. Just shout if you need anything, all right?
Sure.
Reese gives a friendly wave as he heads on upstairs. So, Terry,
Yes.
Alia looks to you and then looks to York and says, so, how much do you trust your comrades?
Not much.
She gives a musical little laugh at this and says, oh, that's perfectly understandable. You are a mercenary of some sort, aren't you? You have a look about you.
Yep.
Could we know your rates by any chance?
I was paid $250 to be here. If Terry wants me to do anything better, you got to pay higher.
Alia considers this and then says, are you usually so forward about your rates?
Terry
Yes.
Yes.
Terry is going to slightly shake his head because the idea of talking to Pep was because Pep is smarter.
Yes, but Pep also does not like negotiating, so she's letting York deal with
York is
negotiating.
perfectly willing to spend hours on end arguing about pay.
Yes. Yep.
Look, the pie has not
Alia-
run out.
Alia gives another look to York and she says, I think that you could learn a couple of things about debate from us.
Oh, we're turning York into a bard? Uh-oh.
York is just staring. Is there a reason you're talking to me?
You could get much more coin for much less work.
You're talking still. It's weird. Do I need to go and stand over by the other one?
She sighs and says, if you don't want to discuss this, then yes, go ahead.
Terry, I apologize. They follow orders very well.
Alia is making a gesture down beneath the table with one hand, out of sight of Pep and York. And as she speaks to Terry, her voice carries over as though it's some, formalities. How have you been? What was your status since your last job? Oh, sorry to hear that, etc., etc. Terry and Alia, however, have a completely different conversation. Alia says, "This is an unnecessary expenditure, but I can understand the need for security. After all, it is a bit unwise to go somewhere completely alone. But we have important matters to discuss, and matters that you specifically can help us with. So, Sarah, you know that you have a debt to us because of your previous engagements, yes?
Yes, I'm well aware.
I have a question, DM.
Uh, Go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting, but Pep is watching Ilea's mouth. Is it syncing up with what she's hearing?
That is an excellent question. Roll me either a perception or an insight.
All right, let me take a look. See here.
Well, it
Uh,
depends. Pep has good perception. Or,
she gets a +4 to perception. It's not terrible.
eh,
But I rolled poorly, so I got an 11.
all right. There seems to be a little bit of a disconnect, but it could just be the fact that Pep's view is blocked by Terry's back.
Pep is short, so
All right. So, as for Alia, she says to Terry, "So you are aware of your debt to the college, correct?
Terry, I am well aware.
And this is where we are going to call in that debt. There is something that only you can do for us, and now we are in a position to collect. Are you going to cooperate with us?"
Just him going, well, I do have a debt.
She considers this and nods and says, "Well said." And now we are going to cut back over to the other party before we figure out what the hell she's actually on about. So, Zann, and Toad, you have just gotten past the rockfall, and you have passed your first check. Protagonist squad has moved down the road a bit.
Toad is now gently bapping a larger rock with his little mushroom sword, just saying, "Osha, Osha, Osha," thinking that's gonna help.
Is
Oh,
pretty sure it does.
I mean, I think OSHA's pretty sure it does too.
Oh boy. So, uh, and Zann, anything special that you want to do, or are you just gonna keep digging the tunnel?
I mean, yeah,
Sorry, go.
dig the tunnel.
Yeah,
We haven't gotten anywhere yet.
All right. Then let's have one or both of you. No, not both of you, just one of you. Roll on the great big wheel of tunnel events. That is a D10.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got a 6.
Okay, a 6. That is a not bad one. It is a dwarvish convoy heading the opposite direction. Apparently, things are rather busier than they were for some reason. Now, this dwarvish convoy immediately stops to ask what the heck you're doing here. Oh, you have reasons to be here? Well, they're just searching the tunnel, making sure that everything is set. Oh my God, are you carving out more of a tunnel? That's going to cause a cave in.
Toad just very cheerily says, "Already did."
Zann
Er,
looks back to Toad and looks at the caravan and
Does the
says,
caravan have tokens?
No, the caravan does not have a token.
I demand a dwarf token. Find me the old racist dwarf.
But I will, just because you asked.
"All right." Zann waits for the racist dwarf token
All right, just a moment.
in
Loading up.
character.
As they're approaching, okay. So this time, don't screw it up for me.
Zann looks at
Immediately,
Ert and prepares to screw it up for him because he does not trust Ert.
immediately, Toad toddles over to the first dwarf that stops, smacks them gently with his mushroom sword again, and just says, "Osha."
Ert's
Okay,
like, yes, yes, he is OSHA approved. Shoot.
okay. Code specifically. Roll me a charisma check.
A 5.
No.
You rolled a 2.
Oh my
You
god. That's
little
plus
mushroom man
3.
with a helmet.
Look at that plus 3 though.
Oh boy. Um, I will say, in the interests of all of you
Someone,
being,
someone can assist Toad.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Now we all need to defend Toad.
I think Ert was assisting Toad by saying yes, he is OSHA approved.
all right, Ert. Do you want Toad to roll again, or do you have your own persuasion check you want to roll?
Oh no.
I mean, Ert already wants to offer the secret handshake of the dwarves that
Roll me,
only true dwarves know.
roll me the
That
fuck
literally no dwarf on this side of the mountain, on this side of the ocean knows.
up and roll, Shoggy.
What do I roll?
It's a persuasion check. It's +0.
Ew.
Zann is a little sad that we're doing a lot of charisma things when we lost the only person in our party that has any charisma whatsoever.
Ert assures the dwarf that it's okay. That mushroom is relatively fresh.
Okay, so here's what happens. You guys get mired in maddening debates and delays as the dwarvish caravan is poking all sorts of holes in your arguments, demands to see your actual identification and the permissions that you were given from Mr. Sandstout. And this all takes so much time, you are all very aggravated and tired by the end of it, which means that you have
Except Toad. Except Toad, who got to just kind of walk around and poke things and keep saying OSHA.
It's true. But you guys have disadvantage on your next tunnel check.
Uh-oh.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So what,
How-
we roll the wheel twice?
Yeah.
No, as in the next time you are called to make any sort of skill check, you have to roll twice and take the worst result.
Oh boy.
How many
Yeah. So if there's
How-
another cave in next, you're not going to be prepared.
how many tunnel checks are there?
There are going to be a total of 6 or 7.
Oh jeez. We were only 2 in and we already failed miserably. All right.
This is going great. So I will have our next story thing happen to Ert, Zann, and Toad before we leave off from them.
Of
So
course.
up next, before you get to the next tunnel check, there is in fact someone in the tunnel, and it is a deep gnome. You can tell it's a deep gnome, and you can tell they're a fucking sociopath because they are the only gnomes you have ever seen not wearing hats.
That's pretty like not okay. That's taboo, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ert's just looking and going, that is a very short dwarf.
I mean the purple skin also gives it away.
That is a very purple dwarf. Hey, where's our purple gnome token? Huh?
Yeah. Huh?
You know,
Where is
lay off, jeez.
Put bubble gum up here or whatever.
bubblegum?
I gotta find it. Okay, here.
Zan walks up and says, "Can I help you?" in a very, very neutral tone.
The gnome boggles at the tunnel that you are digging and says, "You cannot possibly have a permit for this."
Zan holds up his permit for this.
Uses his little mushroom to tap his hat and then go, OSHA!
The gnome.
Zan
Go ahead.
Zan shakes his head at Toad and says, "No, not OSHA." But he's holding up he would have gotten from Terry the permissions from Sandstout, right? Before Terry left, and shows the gnome the permissions from Sandstout.
The gnome buttons up and grabs the permission slip, and he starts reading it, and he flips through it, and he seems to be actually taking in every single word. And he says, "This is a permission for passage."
Zan gestures back at the 15-foot tall crystal, and then gestures ahead at the 10-foot tall tunnel, and says, "Yes, we are passing through with our 15-foot crystal. Your tunnel is tiny, like you.
The
We
gnome
are
says, "Your crystal is cylindrical, or roughly cylindrical. I forget the exact word that means it tapers off at both the edges, but you could have just laid it down and put it on a cart. Plus, it's levitating."
That means there's even less clearance if it's levitating.
No, that means it's operating under its own force bubble. He looks at her and says, "Are you really so incompetent that you had this thing stand upright in a tunnel too small for it?"
Um, before we go farther down this discussion, I want you to understand that if we turn Katie on her side, the souls sort of spill out.
If the souls would have spilled out, then you should have found a different route.
Or it's like, do you did you just go past that soul spill out part?
Yes, I did. It's not pertinent to this particular discussion.
Excellent. Do you happen to know the location of the Dwarf King?
There is no Dwarf King. And first of all, you saw the diameter of the tunnel before you even set foot inside of it. What?
Yes, I saw the diameter should
Good
be
idea.
30. And he said it should be 10.
Zan kind of steps in between the two, talks to the gnome and said, "This guy right here, this dwarf, is trying to make your tunnel 30 meters in diameter. I got him to settle for 10. We're gonna be coming through here. These soldiers are gonna be coming through here. We're gonna try not to make much more of a mess while we do so. But this is a one-way trip. There's a giant horde of undead behind us that we don't want to deal with. If you would like to go out there and tell them to go away, we will gladly find a different tunnel. Until then, we're marching forward."
Right for now, but hold up. There are support beams that are supposed to be in place for a tunnel such as this. We're already underway in making the renovations. And the tunnel that you have dug doesn't have any support beams.
Wait, I
Yes,
thought
it does.
yeah, Earth's been putting in support beams.
Yep. Holds up a mold earth rune. Here, try it out. It's called science.
The gnome grabs the rune, tests it out, finds that it does in fact work, and says, wait. These are powered by magical energy.
Correct.
Yep.
And you're saying that you placed these runes back along the tunnel in order to keep them stable.
Yep.
We used these runes. We didn't place them. We used them. Yes.
No, I placed them.
Oh, you like permanently?
Oh, yeah, we got a ton.
All right.
And the gnome blinks at this and says, there is no easily available source of magical energy. We can't recharge those.
You don't have to recharge them because once they make it, it stays.
Well, I mean, there's actually a fair bit of upkeep, if I'm being honest about things. They're not that efficient. Um, Look, the point is, I put each one with a bit of soul crystal, and they're good for at least 2 years. So you have that long to figure your shit out, or get yourself a nice soul crystal. And he pulls out a soul crystal.
2 years? He's tearing at his hair now, and he's just like, 2 years? It might take 2 years to retrofit the entire tunnel with new columns.
Look, it's not my fault if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
It's your fault if you didn't actually get permissions to renovate the tunnel, and you started renovating the tunnel without asking us if any of us were okay with you renovating the tunnel, and also we tell you not to renovate the tunnel, and then you still do it.
So, while all of this arguing is going on, Toad has toddled his way back over to the protagonist squad
Okay.
because of one particular word the Deep Nomad said. Toad will just wave his little mushroom and then yell, support beams!
The entire army groans and says, we gonna have to build those too?
Oh yeah!
Oh shit.
Oh, Toad, roll me another charisma check.
That is a great charisma check. Roll Toad.
Roll higher than a 5.
That's
Oh, double 20.
Double 20s.
Oh God. So with that, tell you what, because you got a nat 20, Toad, pick one of the remaining 2 members of the CRT. Zara or Farn.
Which 2 are those again?
Zara is the half elf or full elf. I don't remember. And no, sorry, Farron.
Bugbear and elf.
Farron is the elf, and Zara is the bugbear.
What were their specialties?
Farn is an artificer, and Zara is a barbarian.
Farron's actually a paladin that does artificer-esque stuff. But
Yeah,
yes.
sorry, but she runs off intelligence. So she's basically an artificer.
Toad is gonna pick Farron just because Farron is elf and reminds Toad of Terry.
Of Papa.
Nepotism.
Nepotism.
So Farron looks down to Toad and says, I am going to undertake this responsibility personally. I want you to note this down in your ledger that I took this on, and so when the next time pay comes around, I want Terry to remember this. All right?
Toad nods and just says, "Fairy support beam," and nods.
All right. Farron grabs hold of one of the mold earth runes and goes back to shore up the previous parts of the tunnel as the existing people in the protagonist squad start adjusting their plans to include support beams.
Toad walks back over and in the middle of the argument sticks his little mushroom up so everyone can see him and he yells, "Support beam!" and then points back.
Gnome blinks at this and says, "Well, thank goodness you have some amount of sense."
Just
Look,
Toad looks very proud and just nods and says, "Osha, yes."
Zann is just holding his head in his hands and looking at Ert and looking at Toad.
Fair, and
And
that also reminds Toad he turns around, bats with mushroom, and just Zan fairy support beam.
Fairy support beam?
Fairy support beam.
Ert just sits here and goes, yeah, we could have done that the entire time. But the point is, we don't need to.
Zann tells Ert to shut up. Zann is kidding. Zann's quietly wishing, like, I wish I could just punch somebody right now, but I can't. I have to be
Toad's
nice.
trying to tell Zan he's getting more money because he asked Aaron to help with the support beam stuff. But he can't pronounce her name.
Oh, Fairy. Okay. Zan will figure that out later when he talks to Farron. But for right now, he has no idea what Toad is saying. And
So should we devolve this into haggling
I thought we just solved it.
as a
No, we
cutaway? I
solved the
mean,
problem. Toad got the entire squad to work on support
we've
beams.
solved the problem.
Yes, the one problem. There definitely weren't any other problems.
The
The
nerds
main
go,
problem.
okay, now that we got that taken care of, let's talk about the rest of these issues.
The gnome gives a sigh and says, "Listen, I really appreciate you going back and putting up support beams so that there's not going to be nearly as much of a catastrophe when all this resolves. But still, you guys don't have digging permits here."
We here at Imperial Engineering try to serve the customer best without any of that profit of that permit stuff. Yeah.
But
Zan's just face palming.
Oh my god. You guys have no respect for procedures, do you? Listen,
Zan looks at the gnome square in the eyes and says, "Absolutely not. Get out of my way. We're moving."
gnome squares his feet and says, "No, no, if you guys are going to keep doing this mad digging operation, you're going to have to get digging permits right here and now."
And what if we don't?
Excellent. I have an idea. I think it is time to put you in touch with our public relations department.
Oh, are we calling up Bubbles?
Let's find all of our most annoying NPCs and just put them with them and keep going.
We're gonna fucking abandon Bubbles.
Zan supports this message.
Do you think they want to keep Bubbles?
Don't worry,
I'm
it'll send
sure
Bubbles
Ert
our way
wants
shortly afterwards.
Bubbles.
Come on, someone else candy up an NPC to distract them.
Do you guys actually go through with this, distracting the gnome with your annoying NPCs?
Well, we definitely said Bubbles to the gnome for sure, and have Bubbles
Yes.
discuss it while we move forward.
Yes, Bubbles, arrange a Senate.
I'm sure Bubbles has her own small budget.
Oh boy.
The whole reason Ert likes Bubbles is because Bubbles is perfectly willing to hand out runes to everyone. No one else likes them just because they're powered by the souls of the damned.
All right. So, with that, I'm going to say Bubbles and Belladon are assigned to talk to the gnome, and the gnome gets increasingly frustrated and annoyed as the entire party just marches on.
He doesn't notice as we've made about 500 feet of progress.
Like,
Yeah,
look, just add it to our bill, buddy.
By the way, the gnome was going to insist that you get a digging permit, and the digging permit was going to be 2,000 gold.
Oh, that would not have flown. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you're an expert on that shit.
I'm flying? Yes.
Yes.
That, we head past, and we're going to go back down to the CRT and Terry.
Of course.
So, Terry, it is time for you to finally learn what your actual project is.
Yep. What's his alumni donation?
So, Alia says, so, Terry, you are an Imperial officer, and you actually still hold your rank at present. And what we have encountered is some of the technology made by the Empire, a cache of runes and even soul crystals. Now, we don't intend to use the soul crystals specifically, that way lies some rather nasty things, but the runes are something that we need your assistance with, because it turns out that unauthorized people are not allowed to activate them. Terry flashes back to Ert and Bubbles, specifically taking all of the safety precautions off of the runes so that they could be donated.
Terry just nods.
So, what we need you to do is figure out if you can use your Imperial overrides in order to make these runes act for us again. If it's possible, then we're going to start some operations using them, and then we'll have you take a look at some of the crystal technology that we've reverse engineered. It's not the exact same as the Empire, but it should allow us to maintain control in some key areas.
Just Terry. Just. I'll look into it.
Very
When you
good.
say reverse engineer, does that mean you found another way beyond souls?
Well, not as such, but one of the things that we found was that the Imperial technology was too, how do I put this, rampant. If you put a lot of soul energy into a crystal, the crystal grows, the crystal expands, and at some point there might even be a critical mass where it explodes. We don't want anything so uncontrolled. We want crystals that are concealable, that can be distributed to a select few members of our alumni, and can be covertly used in order to top up the magic of people who need a bit of a nudge at the right time.
He just nods and just. That's all perfectly reasonable.
Terry may also roll me an insight if he likes.
Of course. Terry's insight. Let me just get off of Toad here real quick. There we go. A 12.
Terry thinks that there is definitely some more to this that Alia isn't saying.
Oh, of course.
So this will probably warrant a bit more investigation, but Alia, for her part, says, as soon as you have the opportunity, please make your companions stay where they are and come to the upper rooms with us where you can examine some of the rooms. In the meantime, well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt anything if you had a little bit of more food. It would sell the cover. And then she gives a nod to you, and she dismisses the spell and says, and thank you so much for actually sitting down and having this chat with me. It's been so long since we last met. And she clasps Terry's shoulder and says, I'll just go and freshen up. You treat yourself to anything that you like.
Just Terry, of course. Terry looks over.
As the bard leaves, York goes, 0 bites of pie.
No, Terry was eating his pie.
Oh, damn it.
Pep just stares very suspiciously at the diplomat as she walks away.
Just Terry looks to the other two and goes, why don't you come join me for some more food? I'm sure they have more than pie here right now.
York doesn't understand.
Why is York stupid?
York believes fully that all the best food in the world is pie shaped.
Oh no.
Meat pies, pumpkin pies,
Sausage in a
shepherd's
bun.
pies.
Terry just looks to Pep and goes, please join me for a meal.
Pep reluctantly follows Terry.
All right. As for York, York sits down again, and Mayor says, sorry, everything out here is a little bit old. How about I go get something fresh from the storeroom?
York just nods. Try not to poison it.
Terry just, that's very kind of you, Mayor.
Mayor laughs and says to York, don't worry, you'd know if I poisoned it.
Well, yeah, I'd be dead. Duh.
Exactly. He gives a cheerful smile and heads off into the back room. And I'll just, move him off screen for the moment.
York nods over Terry's head. I like it here.
That's because there's food everywhere.
There's pie. There's real pie. Not summoned pie, real pie.
Have we eaten someone's pie?
I hesitate to mention the subject to Ert.
Terry, that is the only reason why I wanted us all to sit down. Real food, for once.
Terry, if you would like to convey something without using your words, roll me a a deception. That was the word.
All right, a deception. Boop. A 9.
We are not like Toad rolled good on the 20, but all the other rolls today have been garbage.
York is just looking at Terry and going, uh, uh, Pep, do you want to figure this out?
Pep will try to figure it out.
I will allow Pep to roll me an insight. That is just +2, I believe.
Yeah. Another
It
freaking
matched.
9. Dude, today is not our day for dice.
You are going to lose so much runic energy and so many soldiers.
Great.
Excellent.
But the insight matched. Does that mean anything?
No, unfortunately.
Oh darn. Oh well. Terry can try again
It
later.
means we were both incapable.
This is not Ogre Quest.
Mayor is over here, and he is serving up some nice fresh food for this time. This time it is several steaming bowls of soup.
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 Terry, of course, is going to eat.
Mayor then hitches up his hips onto the counter and sits up there and says, "So, I have to know, how do you guys know Terry? Is this just a mercenary job for you, or what?"
And just Terry, they've gotten tangled up in the whole political mess with the Empire.
They didn't pay us, and then they did pay us, but then they didn't pay us afterwards.
And what
And
does
look,
Pep say?
Well, at this point, nothing.
York and Terry both said everything.
Yeah.
and then they hammered crystals into our hands.
No, that was just Zann.
Well, it did affect all of the rest of them too.
Yeah, in fact, the whole squad. I thought the whole squad had crystals in their hands.
I was under the impression that it was only Zann, but okay.
No, everyone was getting the headaches. It's just that Zane was getting them the worst.
Okay.
Yeah, you were the one who asked the least questions when they brought out the hammer and the crystal.
Fucking hell.
Uh-huh.
Everyone else after the first session was like, "No, I don't think I'm going back to that one."
Yeah, I don't think that's how that happened, but
Mayor looks around at both Pep and York and says, "So hey, if you two are actually just mercenaries on the job, any chance we could hire you for something or other?"
That entirely depends.
Mayor gives a nod and says, "Good. It's always nice to know exactly what you're getting into, right? Well,
You just
we got a couple of little physical jobs. Probably have something right up your alley. Just things that involve getting people to pay up when they haven't been paying up, and occasionally busting something up if things are going wrong. It's mostly just preventative maintenance sort of thing.
Terry mentions. I was gonna say Terry mentions like we'll have to actually talk to their leader rather than just them.
Pep
Uh,
agrees with this, but also says those sound less like mercenary work and more like gang work. We're not really gangers. We're not hired thugs. We are professional soldiers that kill for a living.
Mayor
The
gives a nod
diff-
and says, "Well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? If you're professional soldiers and you can give yourself some actual, respectability, and you're not just known for going around and intimidating people, then people aren't gonna act up. People aren't gonna strike out. It's the whole thing where the best use of an army is to prevent someone from attacking.
York nods sagely. Actually, the best use I ever saw of an army was this one time when there was a caravan coming in, and he just starts going into a completely long and off-topic story.
Oh my god.
Pep rolls her eyes and just buries her face in the soup.
And he knows
essentially.
no, Pep knows York is doing this on purpose. This is what York does when people talk at him.
I know. She still rolls her eyes.
He has to listen to it too, and it's about the 17th time. Uh,
There was this bridge. It was called Hogger's Bridge.
Oh boy. Okay, so for this, I'm going to have York roll me a persuasion or a deception. That is both going to be just a flat d20.
So what is the goal here?
The goal is mostly to get Mayor wrapped up in this so that he doesn't ask you more probing questions and pick up more information about you.
Persuasion.
Roll.
4.
Nice.
It is a boring ass story.
In this case, the low roll was actually better because Mayor cannot keep the details straight because of how goddamn bored he is.
Like, why do I have to pay attention to be interested in that? And then the guy at 3 rows down from me, an arrow hit his shield. And that was noticeable because his shield had a horse on it and it hit right in the horse's ass. And we all called him Horse Ass Harry after that.
So as York is telling the story, Terry's gonna get up and he's gonna go to Pep real quick and pat her on the shoulder and then on the hand and just tell her, I'll be back. Just sit tight. Enjoy the soup. While he's patting her hand, he's gonna cast Prestidigitation to put a small mark on her hand that is actually text.
Okay.
And it just says, don't reveal anything.
Eb looks at it and nods. She wasn't planning on revealing anything anyway.
The moment she nods, he dispels it so no one can actually see it. And then he heads upstairs.
Okay. Terry heads on upstairs with Riss and Alia. Feel like I keep mispronouncing her names for some reason. But regardless, you head on upstairs, and Riss and Alia are camped out in a couple of chairs, and they
It's
do in fact
Alia.
Alia. That's probably the better pronunciation. Alia. She is sitting beside a nice stack of runes, and it is notable that they are in a rather inconspicuous box. So at any time, she could just turn it slightly, and you wouldn't be able to tell what's inside.
Mm-hmm.
Alia gives a nod to Terry and says, "Right, are you ready to crack these open?"
And just him going, well, I'm here.
She squints a little bit at this and says, "You're here, but are you ready?"
And just Terry just going, if I wasn't ready to serve my college, I would not be here.
Fair enough. And she reaches into the stack, takes out a rune, and tosses it over to you.
Terry will take a look at it.
All right, roll me an arcane.
Terry looks at it and realizes he knows nothing.
Yeah, no, he's just going to say, I'll be honest, I'm not the one who makes these runes.
She raises her eyebrows and says, "So you don't think that you can disable the safeties on it?"
Not here.
"Not here." She tilts her head a bit at this and says, "What's the impediment?"
The resources I usually have, they're not here.
You know, that
mean-
one resource, the bald guy?
You should roll the wheel right now to see if there's another cave in.
You know what? Fucking do it, Zann.
I'm doing it.
roll it
I'm doing it.
If it's a 1, then we'll nope.
No, another
Alright.
caravan.
Fucking dwarf convoy.
Reroll on duplicate.
Do we
Yeah,
reroll on
let's
duplicate?
reroll.
In
Yeah,
this
but let's
case,
wait.
yes.
Let's wait. You've already rolled to see if there was a cave in, so there was no cave in.
Okay.
No, we got to reroll to see if there actually was.
Wait,
Go,
but that would also be another same number.
fuck you. Go on, reroll.
Oh my gosh.
There
I
you
hate,
go.
I hate everything. I quit.
There's a giant rumbling in the distance. I'm waiting for that.
There's
I
a giant
quit.
rumbling in the distance. Carrie just pauses and goes, that would be one of the resources.
She gives a wary nod and says, "If you are in need of magical tools, such crafting implements are things that we can have access to." She gestures to Reese, and he stands up from the table and marches off.
Terry just waves a hand and goes, it's not tools, it's connections.
So as this is happening, Zann has earrings of send message.
Oh,
And he can send messages like multiple times a day, right? And shortly after the rumble, like when Reese is walking away, Terry hears in his ear, "Everything sucks," and that's it. That's all he hears from Zann.
Oh boy. So Hylia squints at Terry a bit more and says, "Connections. But you are the connection, dear. We
Just
expect
Terry.
to unlock these
Terry just nods and goes, "Yes, I am the one with the connections."
We were under the impression that all it took to unlock these runes was someone with the authorizations.
I'm just Terry, just yes, but these are not the kind of runes I've worked with, thanks to the connections I've had. I'll be honest, it's mostly summon turkey leg and mold earth.
He squints a bit and says, "That would be Earth, correct?"
So you're saying you know a guy?
I'm just Terry, just that's the one who makes those ones, yes. But along with him, there are a few others.
She gives a nod at this and says, "How long would it take you to contact these connections?"
Don't say instantly. Don't say instantly. Don't say instantly.
I was gonna say, would this be a good time for another insight?
Go ahead.
17.
So, her thinking right now is if she could go to Earth and cut you out of this, then she could still have a favor on you and she could get the things that she wants.
And just,
Look, I'm just
yeah,
imagining her saying that and Terry going, "Yeah, good luck."
it just, Terry, just, Urge is not the best to deal with this. The connections I have are rather far reaching within this empire. I have plenty other ways, and the only way to get a hold of them would be through me.
She grimaces at this a bit and she says, "Very well. And again, I must ask about the time frame on this."
Hmm. Can he? It's been long enough. Could he try looking at it again?
Go ahead.
18.
The rune that she gave to you isn't actually a real rune. It was a test.
Terry just kind of looking at it, using the same kind of inspective expression he used beforehand. I would have to run this one by my connections just to see if they know.
Well, in that case, we could give you quite a few more, just in case.
I'm just, hmm, I think all I need is a sketch as he takes out his journal.
She watches you as you do this. What do you write in your journal?
He doesn't write in the journal like anything particular. He just like copies down the rune.
The fake rune, the
Mhm.
non-functional rune of
Yeah,
do
I'm
nothing.
I'm really desperately curious what's going on with this.
Oh boy.
And
So,
so is Ert.
And
Like,
just
if you send this to Ert, you are immediately gonna get a response. Like, the tunnel will wait.
that he copies it down with a little note that says find way to override. And he doesn't write down who he's going to contact, but he does snap the journal shut when he's done.
Ilia gives a nod and says, "And you are certain this is something that your contacts can do, are you?"
And just him going, possibly, if it was real.
She pauses, and then she gives a smile and she says, "Good work. I was starting to wonder about you for a moment."
And just Terry, I was wondering how long it would take you to realize I was lying.
She gives a chuckle and she says, "Ah, you truly are an alumni. I'm so glad we aren't wasting our time here." Very well then.
Downstairs, York is explaining that if you really wanna gut a goblin, you gotta aim a lot lower than you do on a normal. Because the goblins, they're a bit shorter and stouter, but they're also a bit wilier. And this one goblin, that's it.
Mayor is looking like he is ready to chew off his own leg to escape.
But he has to be kindly.
Pep is kind of smiling to herself as she watches Mayor's displeasure and discomfort.
Meanwhile, at Ilia says, right, so now that you've proven that you know what you're doing, she pulls out the rest of the runes, and Terry can tell at a glance that they are made rather differently. And she says, these are the real runes, and if possible, we'd like to preserve them, so I'm going to keep a close eye on them and a close hand on them. And she gives a nod over to Reese as he comes back with a few more examination tools. And Reese says, I realize that this might be a little bit on the spot, but we really would like immediate results if you can provide them. We would be very grateful, of course.
A little suggestion for Terry.
Say again?
What?
A little suggestion. Something you could give them is your analysis on why you thought the rune was fake. Like what gave it away.
Oh, no, Terry doesn't have to do that at all.
Well, no, but that's the point. Is that's something you're gonna offer them for cheap?
He doesn't have to offer them anything. They're
Well,
alumni.
yes,
They're asking
fine.
for a favor
Yeah. No, they're
about
calling in a
overriding the
favor.
protections of the runes.
Mm-hmm. So, Ilia looks to Terry and says, I know that you've said that your contacts are the ones that would actually do most of the work on this, which is an interesting thing to say, but I suspect that you do know rather more than you let on.
Now, out of character question, does Terry actually know?
Terry knows exactly enough to disable the protections and what it looks like when a rune is protected versus not protected.
So he would know just about as enough as a typical manager would know about anyone's job.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. Terry would like to look at these ones then and see if there's any plausible way he can say that these ones are more complex.
Okay, that is going to be an arcane or an insight.
I recommend you phrase the question as what level are these?
I'm gonna roll Arcana first. Well, a 9.
Okay, so it doesn't look like these are significantly different than the ones the Empire uses. So, in theory, her question is completely legitimate. Like, she could have you, work with these.
Terry gets an idea and just, do you know who made them?
She gives a nod and she says, we got these from an Imperial shipment along with a bill of lading. They were part of the second invasion force.
Terry nods. All right, well, depending on who made them means other protections may be put in place. More powerful runes require more protection. Summon turkey leg is easy.
And now I'm going to roll for Ilia because she might bungle this up. She does not bungle this up. Oh boy.
Why do the NPCs get the good stuff?
So, she gives a nod and she says, and what kind of concerns do you think there might be? And she leans in, and you get the sense that this is another test.
Terry, you should explain all the things that Ert would do.
Notably, Ert would throw the room together, toss to bubbles, and then forget about it.
What? Ert wouldn't booby trap it?
No, Ert would not. Because Ert thinks that runes are amazing and that everyone should have some.
That's true.
Unless they're ones that specifically he wants to use for himself.
I mean, have you ever seen Ert give a selfish
No.
motive?
You are entirely right, Numbers. Ert would definitely have all his runes completely unlocked. You there, small child, hold this flamethrower rune.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna roll a basic intelligence check then.
Okay.
Because I am not as smart as Terry. Apparently Terry is not as smart as Terry.
Dude,
Holy shit, Terry.
nobody's gonna roll well today except for NPCs.
No,
they
not
chose.
one at least.
Okay, so I am going to provide this as an option. So you know
Hey,
how York is currently
hey,
talking
Oh,
Mayor to
look.
death.
Oh, wait, look. I accidentally rolled Toad Cheat.
Oh, you lucky dog.
You're right. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, roll again for Terry.
Roll again.
Oh, for
Roll.
actually
Yeah,
Terry. Okay.
20.
Okay.
Not
Turns
a
out
nat,
turns
but it
out
is a
Toad
20.
turns out Toad is not as smart as Terry either.
I think I accidentally rolled as Toad this whole time.
Oh
Oops.
my god.
That's
Yeah,
okay. We're gonna
Toad
keep those rolls,
Arcana,
except for that last one.
Toad
So 20.
Arcana, Toad Insight.
Okay, so total of 20. You get the impression that Ilia is definitely testing you on how much you know. Because the College of Whispers does have spies in a lot of places, and she's gotten a lot of information from you, but you suspect that your information is becoming out of date. So she's trying to figure out what you're going to try and barter with, and how to screw you if you try.
Just Terry, hmm. Let's see. How could Terry word this?
Hey yo, bitch, don't you be doing that.
No, because he needs a non-answer or he needs to call her out, and he doesn't know which one is the smartest option.
If you have to guess, this is the College of Whispers. It's probably better to do the subtle thing.
Uh, Zann would be very bad at telephone.
Terry will go, well, I worked quite a long time to figure all of this out myself. It would be quite a shame if I just were to say it all.
She tilts her head at this and says, "You intend to make good use of your training and abilities, then?"
Just, I can work with things to the best of my knowledge, but I have learned that having connections can be just as strong as having, and then uses heavy air quotes, the power of friendship.
She gives a nod and says, "Fair enough. But the real question is, what exactly are you planning on getting out of this? Because after all, we're offering to forgive your debt to us if you do this service for us."
I'm just Terry going, of course. But at the same time, that makes me worry.
Really? Are you worried that we'd do something drastic afterwards?
Not drastic. I'm worried you'd do nothing at all. I've dedicated years of my life to the college, to be alumni, and then to pay off my debt. Well, would the college have any real reason to recognize my status anymore?
Now, with that, I will have you roll persuasion or deception.
Persuasion or deception. I like how you just added that little bit at the end.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Persuasion.
They're probably the same
Probably. It
for
is.
in
And
terms of bonuses.
deception. Actually, it's not.
Oh, okay. Terry's better at lying than telling the truth.
Well, yeah, let's see, jack of all trades, total 5, passive 15, but then persuasion is total 10, passive 20.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're better
Because
at
he has,
telling the truth.
yeah,
okay, my bad.
deception has jack of all trades, but persuasion has expertise.
Ah,
All right, so persuasion time. Please, dice, please.
sound like me playing Battlefield.
13,
Uh,
not bad.
Do you want to give yourself inspiration?
you rolled a 2?
Yep.
Yeah, inspiration was what, a D8 now?
Wait a second. I thought expertise means the lowest you can get is a 10, and then you add your bonuses on top. So that should be much higher than a 13. Am I wrong?
There's a bard thing that does that, but sorry,
Yeah.
not bard, a rogue thing that does that.
Well, I thought bards and rogues had expertise in like together. Hang on. Okay, sure. I might be wrong.
Yeah, expertise is double proficiency. Bardic inspiration, I forget how high it is now. I think it's still a D6.
At 5th level, your bardic inspiration die changes to a D8. So as of right now, it's a D8.
Okay, so I will now roll a D8. Which I need to fix that macro, so boop, I'll just do it normally for now.
Okay. It's
Whoops.
a D. Okay.
Sorry.
That's a pretty good D8. That's a oh, that's
Natural
There
also
we
8.
go. 2 in a
that's
row.
also a good D8.
Yeah. Okay. So, Terry, you
For
slip up
21.
for a moment, and then you successfully slide your way in, convincing her that you really are interested in doing a lot more for the College of Whispers. She
Yeah, not
frowns.
just paying off a debt.
Yeah. She frowns at this, clearly, disquieted by something, and gives another nod and says, I take your point. Well,
I would like to insight that disappointment.
go ahead.
Well, all right. Terry can't figure anything out. But can he insight Reese, who's been here the whole time?
Uh, no, I'm not going to give you a mulligan on this one. Unfortunately, the bad rolls stay.
No. He did Alia. The question is, Terry is wanting to like insight Reese because he's been quiet this whole time.
Like, what's his deal? Not a continuation of this role, just a separate role. Correct?
Completely separate role.
I will allow that. You're treading on thin ice.
A nat 20 on Reese.
Okay, so here's the thing with Reese. Reese is effectively an assassin. And he has been trying to figure out what is the best time to apply a little bit of pressure to you. Because after all, your two allies aren't alongside you. So if you got combative or you didn't cooperate in the way that they were expecting, Reese is keeping an eye out for opportunities.
Pep has a high passive perception, by the way. So if something were to happen, Pep should be able to.
Ah,
Yeah.
so Reese is Alia's protection.
Pretty much, yes.
And just yeah, well Terry's seeing that disappointment on her face and just Terry going, what?
Okay, so what has Terry convinced Ilea?
And just you look so disappointed. Do you really not want me to keep serving?
Ilea waves a hand and says, no, it's not that. It's just that I thought, well, people are supposed to have their own independent lives. They're supposed to go out and accomplish things for themselves. Not everyone can get a high up in the organization, and the high slots of the organization, well, there can be some fierce competition for that. I didn't want you to come to harm if it wasn't necessary. After all, it is the College of Whispers, and the College of Whispers can be a cutthroat place.
Well, whoever said I wanted to climb the ranks? Though, your protection does come rather handy.
Well, that is a good point. Fair enough.
When Terry says your protection comes rather handy, the hand closest towards Reese does kind of twitch.
Oh boy. Subtle mind games. And on that note, we are going to kick back to the cave-in crew. Okay, cave-in
Okay.
crew, it is time for you all to roll either dexterity saving throws or athletics.
Zann takes offense at this new nickname. You said athletics or dexterity saving?
Yep.
Yes.
So I rolled
And remember
athletic,
that
you
you
rolled
have
dex.
disadvantage on this.
Toad got 19.
If you don't,
Disadvantage. I got a 10.
Wait, do I have to roll again?
I forgot to switch over to
That's
Toad's
Pep.
thing.
That's Pep. That's not real. It's fake. That's
Oh.
fake.
okay.
That's
Shall I give
fake.
a question?
Do I need to roll again?
Let's see. Yes, you do have to roll again.
9.
no.
Shit.
I still got a 10.
Okay. So, it is only halved. You take 3d6 more casualties.
Can I use my what is it called? Oh my gosh.
Use your mystical monk powers.
Evasion. Can I use evasion to
Not
reduce
on
it
this.
further? That's specifically for AoE based things.
Yeah,
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
for
but
you.
this isn't about you, it's about your troops.
It's about your leadership quality, man.
Yeah.
Is it about my leadership quality or is it about dice quality?
That
Eh.
too. Same thing, really.
All right.
All right. Well,
Okay. You suffered 5 more casualties as the cave-in crew hits their next roadblock. Thankfully, you're getting a decent distance through the tunnels. Now, looks like after that cave-in, things should be quiet for a while, but you've learned to distrust that. Farron has rejoined the group. She has made all of the columns, and she has.
Terry,
Say again.
not Terry, Toad. When Farron comes back, Toad very proudly announces to Zan again, "Fairy support me."
Zan
Farron,
looks at Farron and looks at Toad and asks Farron, "Is your name Fairy now?"
Farron says, "Toad seems to think so."
Nods and goes, I'll have a talk with them about the birds and the fairies.
Zan says, "Please don't." Just
What?
leaves
He
it at
needs to
that.
know that fairies are all devious criminals who need to be exterminated.
Again, please don't.
Okay. And one moment, please. I have to pull up a particular token. I'm not sure why I keep getting taken off guard by all this. I should have planned all this in advance, you know.
Yeah, I should have actually bugged you about that. So, did we roll next encounter yet?
Hold
While you're
on.
doing that, Toad is just gonna look a little sad and just say, "Very bad."
Very, very bad.
He's
Zan
gonna look at
tells
Farron and just, "Very bad."
Fairy crashed the boat.
Zan is just pushing away from Toad right now. Is there
The
actually a rat?
greatest criminality in the history of the empire was by
Then
the
passive
fairies.
perception picks up a scurrying rat. It appears to be wearing a harness, and it has a package on its back.
Zan goes to catch it because he wants to see what's in the package, and also because it's a rat.
And if
Yells
you
at
catch it,
Zan
Toad
not to
can
eat it.
ride it.
Oh God!
Toad can
Don't
have his
eat
own little
it!
steed.
All
I do,
right, Zan, go ahead and Zan, go ahead and roll me an acrobatics check. You are not allowed to do this. You are talking with Toad.
Is yelling, don't eat it.
25. Ert can't see what I'm doing because it's small and Ert's perception is low.
Oh shit, you're right.
So, Zan, you managed to catch the rat. It is squealing and and writhing around.
I kill
Zan,
it.
you managed to get the little package off
No,
of it.
don't kill it. Toad needs a mighty steed.
I swear to God, you're the most incorrigible Pokemon trainer I've ever had.
Is it big enough for Toad to
Right.
ride it?
I mean, look at the size of it compared to Zan.
Okay, but the way he described it was actually like a rat-sized rat, like a tiny rat.
It is actually a rat-sized rat.
Aw.
So I catch it, I kill it when it starts making too much noise because I hate the noise.
Okay, so Zan,
Reiterates, don't eat it.
Zan, I want to specify: you kill it before you open the package.
No. I
Okay,
take off the package and then I snap its neck.
for fuck's sake.
You
All
take
right,
off the
Zan.
package, but before you open it.
All right, Zan. You open the package. You take out the contents, and then you kill the rat.
Correct.
And the package explodes.
Wonderful.
And go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
He took out the contents first.
Yeah.
Yeah. The package explodes, which means that, in theory, Zan can still read the contents if he succeeds the saving throw, which it looks like he did. Okay, Zan, and you have evasion.
Yes.
All right, so you hear the explosion. You hear a distinct ringing noise that seems to echo all around the cavern. And Zan, you pull out the sheaf of papers, and you read
Uh-huh.
over them. They appear to be in Deep Gnomish. You cannot read Deep Gnomish. However, if you had to guess, there are a lot of things that look like exclamation points.
The
Ah. Okay.
deep gnome we've been talking to.
Yes, yes, yes. Xana looks back at the deep gnome in question to see what he's up to.
You are well past that point by now, bud.
I have really good eyesight.
You are several turns past that point by now.
Okay, I guess yeah, the map's not really communicating that to me. Okay. Um in that case, Zan just, holds onto the papers and says, "Let's continue."
Ert has an opinion. Are you ready for Ert's opinion?
What's your opinion?
I'm asking numbers if he's ready for Ert's opinion.
I
Oh,
am ready.
Okay. Oh shit, I actually can't. I thought I could artificer a helm of understand languages, but I can't. So never mind, ignore this. Ert informed Zann that if he could artificer a helm of understand languages, this would be easy.
If only Terry was here.
Zan looks at Ert. Zan looks at Ert and says, "Thanks for that insight, Ert. Get back to work."
Yep, that's it. That's the whole exchange.
Yep. We're not really talkers.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. So,
Oh,
with that,
oh,
we are going to get back onto the road, which means that it's time for you to roll on the wheel of bullshit.
Shaggy, you get this one.
1D what?
10.
1d10.
Roll above a 6.
4.
That's not above a 6.
Okay, so, Ert, or rather the entire party, as you continue, you hit upon an area of the tunnels that is, very twisty. Dear God, it is not straight at all. It's very confusing. Your soldiers might get lost, even though they're supposedly walking in just a straight line following the tracks. Dear God, this offends Ert's sensibilities so much, he just wants to cut a nice, clean path through it.
Oh. Zan has at least some self-preservation instinct and talks to Ert before he does this and says, "Ert, there's potentially a reason why it's all twisty-turny. Can we check for, like, I don't know, caves that we don't want to cut through, or like volcanic activity in the area, or some other thing that might be a problem if we cut straight through before we carve a giant hole where we shouldn't?"
You raise a valid point, bird person.
You know my name, Ert. If you don't start using my name, it will be painful for you.
Ert hands Zan a rune of Mold Earth. Go scouting.
Oh, my friend, you seem to have a very strong misunderstanding of who's in charge here. Zan
Ert takes
hands
the
back.
rune. Ert takes the rune back and hands it to Toad. Go scouting.
That
he
is
takes it.
acceptable.
He takes it and goes, "Oh yeah," and starts walking off.
Okay,
So,
so this
can we actually do something while he's gone?
No,
this
you're going with him. Good luck.
Oh, fuck.
okay, so Ert and Toad, as you head off with your OSHA hat.
Yes, with the OSHA hat.
Sorry. So Ert and Toad, this is a situation where you need to roll me an either survival check or an investigation check.
All right, survival or investigation.
The DC is 14, and
Ert investigates for 16.
okay, and you beat the DC, which was 14. And so, Ert, you identify the threats here. You could actually tunnel a much shorter path, and it would even save energy with Katie.
And
No downside?
No downside for this. You succeeded the roll.
Oh,
Cool.
does Ert tell Zan this?
so the point I was making was that I'm right. Let's roll.
Zan looks at Ert a little suspiciously, looks at Toad, thinking he's gonna ask if Toad can confirm this. Thinks better of it because he realizes that Toad is about the same intelligence level as Ert, and just sighs and says, "All right, everyone stay 100 feet back for this first little bit. Ert and Toad get going." And
Question.
then
Go ahead.
Does Toad eat the rat?
Does Zan let Toad eat the rat?
Zan will totally let Toad eat the rat.
Okay. And now we come up on our next plot point as
As-
Zan, Toad, and Zan, Toad, and Ert, sorry,
And the hat.
and the hat continue onwards. As all this happens, you come across a contingent of deep gnomes, and they are armed. Here, I'll put a token for them in just a moment.
Do they look aggressive?
They look very wary, and they look like they're not letting anyone past.
Zan calls up a squadron of dudes. to be behind us as we move forward, and tells them to be ready for conflict.
Okay. They are ready for conflict. And the gnomes look over to Zann and say, "Halt! What are your intentions?"
We're going through here. You can get out of our way now.
"You are not going through here. There were signs of illegal activity. One of our messenger animals was killed."
Sorry, our mushroom got hungry.
Points at the mushroom. Yeah, he ate it. I saw it.
He's currently eating it, actually.
It
So
was marked with guild seals.
He can't read.
we do any of us look like we read gnomish?
No. And so you
Okay.
don't look like people who are going to make a lot of progress until there's been a full investigation.
Move.
Ah,
The gnomes all look to Zann and say, "You are proclaiming that you wish to move without a full investigation, and you are proclaiming that you are willing to use force in doing so?"
Correct. Get out of my way.
The gnomes look to each other, and they look to Zann, and they look to Urt, and they say, "We have artillery on the way. You are still going to press the issue."
On the way. It's not here yet.
raises the hammer up.
Yes, sir.
Please explain.
What?
"We have a contingent of fireball casters. They are loaded with alchemist fire, and they are coming our way. They are..."
Wait. Like a person who casts fireball?
No, as in they are cannons that shoot fire.
Like a tube. A tube that pushes fire out of it?
Zann flies over their heads and goes down the tunnel to see if there's any cannons down there.
Okay, Zann.
Or just that there's like, holy shit, you guys. You are primitive as shit.
Okay, Zann, you do not have to make any sort of check for this. Your passive perception is in fact high enough. The gnomes are not bluffing. They have 10 of these things rolling on the way.
Isn't this tunnel 10 feet wide?
Yeah, they're in file. Like,
Single
one
file.
after the other.
So they can't actually shoot.
Well, what's going to happen, you suspect, is because they're all narrow enough, they're going to be arranged in a particular formation to put down a divine wall of flames that no living being can cross.
Okay.
Poke Zann.
I'm flying like hundreds of feet ahead of you.
Throws a rock at Zann.
So how big are these cannons?
The cannons are about 6 feet long, but they are rather narrow, and they appear to be gnomed. Yes,
Gnomed?
they appear to be gnomed, not manned, by 2 gnomes each.
Okay.
Urt would like to talk to Zann.
You have a doesn't everyone have an earring of message? Send
Yes,
message?
they do.
So send me a message.
Okay, Urt would like to tell you that his theory is, you know what? We can just have a 20-foot deep wall of earth in front of us here
And push it forward.
and push them forward.
I'm actually kind of okay with that. What I was gonna do is I was gonna start killing the gnomes by myself.
Uh,
That seems counterproductive. Let's just do the wall of earth. We got places to go.
Zann. So you said there's 10 cannons, each with 2 gnomes,
Correct.
and they're going down they're going single file down a 10-foot tunnel. Is
Correct.
there anyone that looks like they're in charge of that group?
Yes, there is a guy in the middle of the ranking, and by the way, there is no chance for stealth here.
I'm not trying
Hey.
to stealth.
Urt nudges you via psychic hearing.
Yes,
Hey.
or
Hey, ask the boss there. Ask the boss if they're insured.
if they're insured.
Insured.
Are you guys insured?
The head of gnome says, "Our lives are insured, and our families will be well compensated if you kill us."
Against natural disasters.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All natural disasters.
The gnome reaches up to an earring and clicks it and says, "Yes, all natural disasters. They are apparently
Including cave-ins
interested in
caused by your own incompetence.
Correct.
What's the range on
Holy shit, can I join?
what's what's the range on our mold earth runes? Is it 300 feet or 150 feet?
Moldurth has a reasonably short range. I think it's only like 30
Oh.
feet.
Really?
Hold on. Yep. Range
Yep,
of
it's pretty
Moldurth.
short.
Dang it! I was just gonna collapse the tunnel on all of them. I have a mold earth rune on me, right?
Yes,
Yep,
you do.
everyone, even Toad does.
Okay, the gnome, the leader gnome raises his hand and says, "Are you intending to pursue violent interactions?
Are you intending to stay in my way?
We are intending to stop you and perform a full investigation."
Question: Can we go up?
Zann flies back to Urt and says, "Urt, make the wall and push it forward.
Making wall, pushing it forward.
Make
As
it
you
and make
make
it 10
this,
feet thick."
as you make this, the gnomes in front say, "We are taking this as an intention to continue on with violent force."
Okay, they can't talk to us anymore because there's a 10-foot thick wall in between us and them that's blocking the
No,
tunnel.
they've hacked into your ear. They've hacked into your earrings.
Oh,
How did
okay.
they do that?
Does that mean that Terry could hear that too?
Yes.
Oh god, Terry can hear all of this. Terry is trying to negotiate while hearing this sound.
It's not my problem. Zann gives Urt the go-ahead to push the wall forward. It's a 10-foot thick wall, so it shouldn't be able to be blasted apart by fire.
Okay, so the gnomes once again state, "We are taking this as a show of hostile force, and we will respond accordingly."
Great.
Just so you know, if you respond accordingly, I'm gonna shove your souls into Katie.
The gnomes say, "This is noted," and then, notably, no assault comes.
Oh shit, we are fucked as fuck.
Okay, Zann and Urt, and especially Toad. So you
Toad is
continue on.
bystander. Toad didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I want to know, what does Toad think of all this?
Toad was just sitting there thinking, this is not what Terry would do.
Well, Terry's not here, is he? He's off playing with his little bard friends.
Meanwhile, Terry, overhearing all of this,
Urt and Zan are just in Murder Town together.
Zann would have updated Terry and said, "Gnomes are being difficult. We're solving the problem. I'll update you later."
Did you know there's a whole race of gnomes?
And then
Not
he would
anymore.
hear the hacked message.
Well, that came after the hacked message.
It's just
oh god.
Your
Terry
message to Terry's just
staunchly
BRB gnomes.
refusing to react because if he does, then he'd be questioned more, and he doesn't want that.
Okay, so that Zan and Urt and Toad, of course, make me another dexterity saving throw or athletics check.
Is this magical in nature that they're causing the cave-in?
No.
They're shooting at the wall, and that's causing a cave-in.
Athletics for 20 and
Nope.
dex save for 6. Ouch.
Question, real quick. Hang on. So they are shooting. So I want to understand what's happening before we make the save, because if they are shooting at the wall that we are pushing towards them, we can push that wall towards them faster than they can back up their cannons and shoot
Yeah,
them.
what is
So
Zan doing with his
They
roll?
are straight up killing themselves if they are firing their cannons into the wall right now. They are literally killing themselves.
They are not doing that.
Okay, so what is can we tell what is happening right now?
Well, currently what is happening is you're not making me the goddamn dexterity saving throw.
Because my DM is not describing to me what is happening, but I will roll.
It is a surprise. You will roll.
I mean, I have. Okay,
You'll roll very well.
I have senses that I can use to figure out what's happening, but
Okay, the DC is 17, so that is a reroll.
naturally I roll low.
Ouch.
Okay, so here is what happens. There is another fucking cave-in, and what happens in this cave-in, it seems like the tunnel is perfectly sturdy, but the moment you cross a particular line, you see that there are explosive charges that have been placed into fault lines, and the moment that they touch open air, they detonate.
So, okay. So my question is, this shouldn't affect our troops then, because it's happening at the front when our troops are in the back.
The troops are in charge of expanding the sphere.
Yeah, the work crew is who gets hurt, not the rest of the troops.
So, okay, this
So we're up
So
there with the work crew, and we're clearing space, and all of a sudden we hit landmines. That's what he's describing.
okay, there
Yeah.
shouldn't be more than 4 people at the front because there's not that much room for that many
Yep.
people at the front. So we shouldn't be able to take 11 casualties here, but that's okay.
Avon's Cascade.
Events cascade.
So you
Sure.
have suffered 6 more casualties.
Or
Okay.
kept on making them go forward.
Mhm.
Okay, so with that, that is originally 72. That is now 66. All right. So with that, after the cave-in stops rumbling and whatnot, the gnomes once again speak up over your little message earrings and say, "This is your only warning. We will pursue a campaign of guerrilla warfare against you if you continue any further without permitting a full investigation."
Or it's like, what do they want to investigate anyway?
The fact that I killed their rat.
I mean,
Even though you all just admitted to it, and Terry was the little, toad was literally just sitting there eating
Eating
it.
the rat.
Ert pokes them. What do they actually want to investigate?
I mean, they said they wanted to investigate the death of their courier, the rat courier.
Ert rings them on the psychic rank earrings. Like, are we talking about the rat that the toad ate?
This is only part of the investigation. We are also investigating the disappearance of one of our members who has not reported in. This is likely the person who owns the rat courier that you killed.
Oh, he's in a meeting.
He's talking to our dudes.
And we also need to investigate the issue that he was looking into. Odd seismic activity happening throughout the tunnel, possibly caused by you. Definitely caused by you, given the circumstances.
You're literally planting explosives in your own tunnel.
Yes, we were
Okay.
planning on having demolition charges in order to refit the tunnel. However, your work is disrupting much of our work.
So
Says the people blowing up the tunnel.
there's gonna be a small pause with that. Like, I'm assuming it's being relayed to Toad, so I can still be kind of involved.
Yes.
And Toad is just going to look up to Ert and Zan and go, "That sound like a whole investor thingy done now. You say everything."
I mean, that's what we're getting at. Yeah.
The voice over the earring says a full investigation is going to entail examining all of the altered tunnel at its current time. Also, you will be held responsible for any and all actions taken against you, as you have been consistently warned that your force has not been appreciated or accepted.
Okay. So Zan is not going to use the earring for this. He's going to talk to Ert. He's going to say, "Okay, Ert, we're letting the wall down. We're going to let the guys in. As they come in, we're going to tell our dudes to just kill them all. Ready?"
Well, that, or we could all actually bring the entire cavern up to code. Just saying.
Toad's gonna kind of just look at both of you and just be like, "But Terry said not make enemy."
Oh, these guys are making enemies themselves by being obnoxious to
Or it's just
asshats.
like, look,
But
we're building pillars. Like
but
pillars.
Terry know how to fix that.
Then Terry should be here. Um, because my charisma roll ain't gonna fit. My -1 to charisma ain't gonna be fixing anything right
It
now. I'll
just
tell you that much.
Erd's standpoint is no one could look at this glorious cavern full of superfluous pillars and not say that he is entirely right.
Bairn
Toad,
actually speaks up at this point and says, I did want to point something out actually.
Yes, Farron.
They were retrofitting the tunnels up ahead.
Yes.
And, well, the modifications that we are making to it are probably disrupting a lot of their work.
Okay.
And so, although they are talking about an investigation that you consider to be rather pointless, from an engineering perspective, their concerns are entirely valid, especially given what we've already witnessed with Earth's lapses in judgment.
Ert nods sagely. Do they have a diagram?
I have no idea if they have a diagram or
Ert pokes Toad. Go get the diagram.
what. What?
Toad just blankly stares at you.
Go.
What are you
Go.
talking about?
Go get their diagram. They're engineers. Go get the diagram.
Zann tells the people in the front to lower the wall and let the gnomes in, but tells Farron to be ready to have the soldiers ready in case we need to do some cleanup.
Like Erd is spreading out 30 pages of fucking runes here.
Fair, Zann tells Farron to get the soldiers ready in case we need to do something, but tells the soldiers in the front to lower the wall.
Okay, the soldiers in the front lower the wall. Becky, Toad, the wall in front of Toad has been lowered. Ert is urging Toad out in order to go make contact with the gnomes. Does Toad do this?
Toad's gonna look back to Farron. Can she come along?
Farron,
Zann will go with Toad. Zann will go
He's
with Toad.
supposed to
Farron
stay
is
supervised.
Farron holds up a hand and says, Zann, I believe it would be in our best interest if you stayed with me and we gave the soldiers proper orders. She looks to Toad and says, would you be comfortable going with Zera?
Toad nods. He just knows he needs to go with someone, but not Ert.
Okay, so Toad and Zera. You head forward?
Yes.
Okay, so Zera is not very pleased about this whole situation, mostly because she's pretty convinced that her own commanders are being an idiot, and for once, she is considering Zann to be part of the problem.
So Zara's actually on Toad's side that this should be handled like a Terry thing and not a Zann thing.
Yeah, especially because a lot of those falling rocks hit people that she knew.
Oh, all right. This is good. Toad's got help. Toad's got advantage rolls.
So, Zara and Toad head forward, and there is a communication from up ahead. Attention, interlopers! We do not know your identification. However, we will not respond well if you take any hostile action. If you are intending to engage in diplomacy, please set down your weapons and remain where you are.
Toad just looks to his little mushroom cap shield and his little mushroom sword. They are just mushrooms.
You set them down.
He puts them down, but he's also made of mushroom, so he kind of sits as well. So he's just sitting there next to his shield
Okay.
and sword.
Zara puts down her weapons, and the gnomes come forward. They are very clearly on edge, very clearly expecting you to start a fight at any moment. And
But then all they see is a bugbear who is apparently taking orders from a small mushroom,
they're weirder.
wearing a hard hat.
Oh boy. So, the lead gnome steps forward and says, are you affiliated with the faction that has invaded our tunnels?
Toad just nods. Toad.
Greetings, Toad. He then introduces himself. I do not have a name for him, so you may invent one if you like.
Toad's gonna have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's gonna sound something close to Billy.
Okay, this is now Billy.
In quotes.
Yes. So Billy gives a nod and says, very well, we've exchanged introductions. Your force has been reformatting the tunnel that we have been assigned to renovate and improve, and your adjustments have not been filed with the accounting office, and we do not have any idea of what your intentions are. You have not registered any plan of what you are doing with us, and when we have made contact and told you to stand down for an investigation, you have responded with violence.
Crystal too big.
The gnome nods and says, you may have cargo that is too large for the tunnel, in which case it would be wise in order to bring the issue up with us beforehand.
So just nods and then point back and go, Dwarf dumb.
This has been gathered. There is also a report of a bird person who was flying low within the tunnel and who made contact with our artillery team.
So nod, just smart, not good with word.
This is understood. However, the artillery team was a show of force we did not intend to actually use. It was in order to motivate people to a more receptive mindset. However, this did not work. We therefore used some guerrilla tactics in order to dissuade further progress. This also has not worked.
So just shrug and just made wall.
Yeah, like literally the use of violence was making a wall and they responded by blowing up their tunnel. Seems pretty
Yeah, so
fucking
it's just
stupid if you ask
I
me.
was just sitting there like, made wall. It like takes out little mold earth rune and uses it to build a little mound in front of him.
The gnome looks at this and gives a nod and says, "There were reports, and we have confirmed those reports, that you were warned multiple times that you were taking hostile actions and that we would respond appropriately. Is this not true?"
So just bird always think with fist. Is done.
The gnome nods again, and Zara gives a grunt. And the gnome says, "Very well. In that case, is there something that we can do in order to de-escalate the situation on our part?"
Toad thinks help make crystal bit tunnel.
Are you proposing this as a way of compromise?
Toad nods.
Billy considers this and then says, "I will report this to my superiors. It is likely that we will accept this as a way of compromise, as we do not intend to use the next set of explosive charge unless we absolutely have to."
Toad offers his rune and just will help with tunnel.
The gnome gives a nod and says, "Your peace offering is accepted, assuming it is not a bomb."
I wish it was a bomb.
Toad just shakes head and just earth move.
Billy gives another nod and says, "Please remain here. The guards here will make sure that nothing untoward happens to you. You may retrieve your weapons, but please do not brandish them."
Toad nods, picks up his mushroom cap and mushroom.
The gnome pauses for a moment and says, "Are those actually sharp?"
Toad kind of pokes him in the knee. It's not sharp. It's
Understood. We'll make an
just
exception.
a mushroom.
And so Billy heads off. And with that, we are going to cut back over.
Real quick, before
Okay.
we cut over,
Go ahead.
Toad is just gonna turn to Zara and wave his little sword like yeah, I did it.
Sarah gives a smile and a nod and pats Toad on the helmet. Oh boy.
I love how Zan's in charge, but the one with the most sense is a little fungal creature.
I knew all of this was going to happen, by the way. I planned for this shit.
Zann approves of killing these, I assume.
Zann is no. If I find a chance, I don't even care anymore. I'm going to murder every last gnome. That's out of character, but yeah, yep.
Okay, so we cut back over to Mayor, who has finally fallen asleep and fallen off the chair. York, it takes you a minute to realize that this is happening because, of course, you get really into the story.
York props him up in the chair and keeps on telling the story. Pep, go figure out what's going on with Terry.
Oh, God.
Pep goes
So
upstairs.
remember, Terry told Pep to stay downstairs.
Terry told Pep to not share anything. Did not. I don't recall
Yeah,
this
but he
statement.
patted her shoulder and said, "I'm gonna head up there. You stay here."
So be
Okay.
discreet about checking.
Oh, Pep will stand at the bottom of the stairs and see if she can hear anything.
Okay, this is going to be a perception check for Pep.
Oh, that is Zann's sheet. Let me change that. Nothing. All night, low rolls.
So, Pep cannot hear anything from here, but I do want to point out that Pep is possibly the sneakiest member of the party.
Yeah. I mean, Pep will go ahead and sneak up to the top of the staircase.
Okay, go ahead and roll that stealth.
It's gonna be a low roll. Oh, it wasn't. Wow. 24.
Okay, so let's cut back over to Terry specifically. So,
Yes.
Terry, you are trading words with Ilia, the diplomat, and Reese, and you've figured out a lot of what they intend here. There are still a few lingering questions about why they want this rune magic stuff to work in the first place, and why they seem to be confident in their own method of soul crystal creation. But we are well into the I know, you know, I know part of the particular negotiation.
Yeah.
So, where does Terry take the conversation next?
I'm gonna say that Terry's gonna take it in the direction of it being more productive. Like they want Terry to unlock them right now, but it'd be more productive if Terry could get, his contacts to unlock it instead.
Ilia looks to Terry at this and says, "You keep insisting and so I suppose I must take your word for it. But what kind of time frame can we expect this to be done in?"
Terry thinks of a reasonable, um, but beneficial time frame. That would be an intelligence.
Go ahead.
Make sure I'm on Terry's sheet.
Yeah, not Toad.
Make sure I'm actually on Terry in my chat. There we go. All right, and intelligence. Nat 20.
Okay, Terry. So, for a time frame for this, you think that Ilia is actually trying to force you into setting down a date so that if you miss it, she can hold that over you as a favor. So, the most intelligent thing that you can do here is not give one, to give an evasion, and to claim that there are a lot of complicated factors that play into it. She probably also knows that this is another microscopic test.
My
Just
recommendation is to dump everything on Earth.
no, that because that would make the time frame too quick.
But you could sit there and describe her and be like, this is the guy I'm giving it to.
Oh, God.
No, that wouldn't work. Because then she could go to you for that.
Good point.
So
Pep, I
Terry,
suggest you murder her.
Terry thinks about this and goes, "Well, I would have to go through the proper channels despite my ranking, just to make sure that everything is still up and up, as in, they'll suspect things if I'm just randomly asking for runes. So, using bureaucracy, you can never really tell how long it's going to take."
She gives a seemingly disappointed sigh, but you see a spark of minor approval in her eyes. And she says, "Very well, then I suppose there's nothing for it but to let you, uh, how do I put this? Go through the motions."
Just yes. It'll be tedious, but I can get it done.
Very well. Then I suppose we have no choice but to leave you to it. And she considers for another moment and says, "By the way, we would actually like your consultation on another issue.
And that would be,
The effects of runic magic on a society, these soul crystals and these runes, and how they have changed the values of people." She gestures around and says, "We, of course, want any advantage that we can get. We're always on the back foot here. But it is important that we know what we are dealing with. And so, if you had any insights that you could give about runic magic and these crystals, this would be the time to voice them."
I'm gonna roll an insight on this.
Go ahead.
Nope.
How wrong could you be about this?
May roll an insight on this. What the hell is with this roll?
It's the same roll.
Now here's the thing. Terry is still gonna take everything with a grain of salt, so he just doesn't know why. He just doesn't know why he doesn't trust this.
Uh, so for Terry's Nat 1 in particular, Terry becomes convinced Ilia wants to set up another institution like the Empire here on the mainlands. A magic monopoly that can lord over the plebeians.
Does Pep agree?
Pep is a little more uncertain about this. She just reserves judgment.
So he's worried that that she now is planning to do the very same thing that happened to his home.
Exactly.
Okay. Terry, we'll think about it for a moment and go, I'll do you one better. Why don't I make an entire report that I send to you with all of the runes?
She considers that and says, "If you consider that the best option, but I would like something a little bit more off the cuff. I'm looking for an emotional response from you, Terry."
Well, you and I both know No matter what emotional response I give, you'll still be skeptical of it.
Well, of course, but I want a baseline.
Terry thinks for a minute.
Please imagine while Terry is thinking, he is hearing the basically hostage negotiations over his headset.
Terry just kind of scratches his ear, which activates his message rune so the others can hear. Just, I think I wouldn't want to escalate things. That's when the message rune cuts out. Just so, they know that Terry's listening.
All right.
But if it's the raw emotion you want, rather than the actual information, I can tell you several islands are quite upset being under a ruling as of recent that doesn't align with their own.
Well, that is the nature of conquest, isn't it?
And just him going, yes, of course. And some have taken different measures to try and rebel.
If I might interject,
Go ahead.
this would be a good time for Pep or York or someone to chime up. They're fucking nuts! They are nuts! And you're nuts for dealing with them! Pep says, as Pep deals with them. That's all. That's my suggestion.
I leave that up to them.
Terry's trying to be as vague as possible, non-answers that are still answers.
Pep does not interrupt.
All right. So, Alia considers this and says, well, we don't have anything in mind that's as gauche as a conquest. This would be more like a simple change of the game. Now, I don't want to get into too many details. There might be listening ears. Pep is absolutely sure she has not been detected, but she is also very nervous suddenly. And Alia says, but the change that we are thinking of would be more to secure certain positions while leaving others less secure.
I'm just, of course. I understand completely. That does align with the college itself.
Of course. But in any case, it seems like most of the things that you are going to be up to are going to be things that you pursue on your own time. She gives you a little quirk of a smile and says, well played on that front.
Terry, well, thank you.
And she gives a nod, and she stands up from the table. Pep, do you retreat?
Pep will be moving back down the stairs. Yes.
Okay. That is
Terry will get up and move around to her,
Oh, okay.
flip open his clipboard
All right.
to an empty contact list,
All right.
and ask her, can he assign a rune to contact her once he has everything in order?
Ilia gives a nod and says, well, if you find this acceptable for communication, then yes, we can set up a room.
Terry nods. He sets it all up with her, and she gets a tiny notebook in return.
All right. Ilia takes it and then steps back and says, in that case, it is time for you to merely enjoy our company until we get the next batch of potions brewed. We weren't expecting to have to brew 3.
Terry nods and goes, while we do that, I can test this real quick. And he quickly writes out just a basic greeting message to Alia on his clipboard.
All right. Alia receives it, or Ilia, whatever. Ilia receives it, and then she confirms that it has been sent, and then she gestures our wonderful Terry down the stairs, and then Reese and Ilia come down the stairs to find Mayor dead asleep, and both of them just go, ooh. They were not expecting that.
Terry pauses and kind of smirks and goes, ah, York, you were telling one of your stories, weren't you?
York nods.
Just which one was it this time? Fighting the goblins or fighting the orcs?
It was the bridge incident. Pep says as she
Oh,
tips her suit.
Yep, Hogger Bridge.
oh, a new one. Interesting.
Meanwhile, Mayor is just like, I already know about the horse's ass. Slumps over again.
Terry just kind of chuckles at that and just, oh, believe me, I was there, and yet York still told me about it.
That's because you didn't see everything.
Meanwhile, Ilia just rushes past and says, once again, well played, Terry. And she heads off to do her own business. And Reese is going to get things prepared for all the potions to get you back. Now, let's cut back over for the second to last segment with Zann, Urt, and Farron. So, Zara and Toad are in talks, and Billy eventually comes back, and he says, would it be all right if we spoke to the other people that appear to be in charge?
Toad thinks for a minute. He has to think real hard about this. Can Toad roll his tiny intelligence? Well, it's not tiny, actually. He's actually smarter than Zan and Urt, probably.
Really?
Toad has a 12.
Yeah.
He's got a +1 to his intelligence.
Yeah, he's got 12 in intelligence and in wisdom, which means that he's probably better overall than both of you.
No, I Erd is 18 and 12.
I have an 18 wisdom, thank you very much.
What's your int?
That's only a 10, but
Ha! Beat you overall.
you have an 18 in int, you said, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Ert's plenty intelligent and Zan's plenty wise.
On average, Toad is better as a jack of all trades compared to you guys, though.
I think a +4 and a +0 is better than 2 +1s, but that's just me.
Well, in any case, Toad, go ahead and roll me a intelligence or wisdom, whichever you choose.
Let's go with intelligence. 6. Does Zara want to help and have her own roll?
Sure, I will roll for Zara in just a moment. Stats, intelligence, save.
Nope. Nothing.
There's your flag, Zan.
Zara just immediately perks up and says, all right, finally, we can get this off our shoulders. And just like basically grabs Billy and drags him back over to Zen and Urt.
Toad, just Sarah, no!
Zara's just like, oh, yes, sorry. And she lets go of Billy and says, this way, please.
Just Toad, just no.
Oh, God.
Little Toad stopped right in front of the little
Do
doorway.
not carry small PCs.
He stops right in front of the little doorway and just says, just remember, dwarf and bird, dumb.
Billy.
I have a high passive perception and I hear this.
Yes.
Yeah. Zan has been listening to this whole discussion.
Yeah, Zan
like,
is
oh,
getting
God.
and he's getting angrier by the second.
Like, Urt is just gonna give Billy the flag and be like, get surveying, buddy.
Just Toad just looks at both of them and goes, no, and points to both of them and goes, you do wrong, and then points to Billy and just goes, should wait for Terry.
Okay, so let's wrap this whole segment up, numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Zan and Urt, here's the question. Do you exercise patience here?
Urt just wants the damn tunnel built, and he'll build it wherever the damn gnomes say to build it. But he's building a tunnel.
Toad is going to look. Well, Toad's going to try and tell Urt. It's just like that they're gonna help us try to get the crystal through, but we have to actually talk to them about that.
That's what we talked to the first guy about, like at the start of the blasted tunnel, and he was
this
100% against it.
Yeah, but this time the little Toad has actually convinced them to actually help us.
Like, Urt is handing them mold earth runes at this point. Urt is like, I'm not doing shit. Here's your mold earth runes. Here's my crystal. Get it through.
You're actually handing them Katie.
No, we're handing them the runes.
Oh. Okay. So Billy looks to the mold earth runes, and then looks to the crystal, and then looks to Urt and says, we will need notes on your clearance level, as in the amount of clearance that is required for the crystal, and we will also need to know the extent of your changes to the tunnel thus far.
So Urch is sitting there diagramming this shit. He tells Zan, get the army together in a big old column behind the crystal.
They're already in a column.
Cool. Next.
Okay, so Billy says, looks like you actually do have some engineering knowledge. However, there are some oversights that we would go over. This is the purpose of an investigation. This was what we were trying to accomplish earlier.
Investigate faster. Go.
There are proper Never mind. And so Billy goes over a lot of the information with Ert. Ert, I'm going to have you make an intelligence saving throw.
Very high.
So, Ert, you realize that Billy is actually no nonsense. Like, they actually had a very good plan for what they were going to do with the tunnel, and now you've cocked it all up.
Understandably, we did run through 2 cave-ins, so he has a point.
Yeah. And so Billy actually has a lot of plans and is actually reasonably flexible about them. Considering all of the distance in the tunnel that you've already made, it would be pointless to insist that you desist. So they might as well make a working plan for you to go up to the next toll station. The news that there is the next toll station is not met with enthusiasm by Zann, of course.
So tell us about this next toll station.
Billy proclaims that this next toll station is a sort of junction between tunnels that has recently been occupied by the Sverfneblin. The Sverfneblin! Say it 3 times fast. Anywho. So, the Deep Gnomes have this junction station, and it is where they check everyone's paperwork, make sure that they're in the right tunnel, they're going the right direction, they haven't caused any serious problems. It is here that they will audit all of your paperwork. This might take a while since there have been a lot of irregularities. However, for the time being, Billy is content to let you continue the tunnel up until that point, at which point they will have to reevaluate. Zann may go ahead and roll me a wisdom saving throw or an insight.
Probably an insight. Let me double check. Yes, insight. 19.
So, if these guys are willing to let you dig all the way up to their weird toll booth place, then that's probably a lot further than you would get beforehand. And if they're allowing you to dig, that means that you could possibly go around it and avoid them, so that you didn't have to deal with all the fucking tolls.
Okay, then we'll do that.
All right. So, Billy details his plans with Ert in order to continue on the digging project. However, he will have his own gnomes holding the mold earth runes, and your army will march behind Katie without drawing weapons.
Yep. Continue.
Ert accept this?
Yep, everyone accepts. Let's roll.
Billy seems rather surprised, and he then starts barking around orders, and things proceed. And so there is no final set of rolls. I was going to have you do 2 more tunnel events, but Billy directs you around all the worst ones of them, and you guys actually make pretty good time. With that, Terry and the rest of the CRT are finally released from their harrowing adventure in the Tattered Tankard. They follow the path, and they actually manage to catch up. Although he does pass Belladon Ezrin, Bubbles, and an increasingly infuriated gnome screaming in the background.
Well, when we find those ones, it's gonna be Terry telling the Belladon and Bubbles to come along. You're falling behind.
All right. So everyone rejoins this little impromptu party, and then you continue on all the way to the end of the path with the gnome's blessing. Meanwhile, over at the wheel, Hebel was just like disappointed, but I was gonna spin 2 more times.
Ah, well, we ran out of time for the evening.
Yeah. Terry's gonna catch up with the other 2 and just go, I heard almost everything.
Or doesn't see why you're talking about this. This has been a perfectly normal day.
Zann doesn't really have a comment. He's brooding.
Okay.
Yep, he's a broody brooder.
Terry's
He
gonna
broods.
pat Toad on the head and just say, "You did a good job." But Zann is not dumb.
Just Ert.
Okay. So, with all of that established, Billy, at the very end of the tunnel, right before it breaks into the Sverfneblin toll post, he approaches Toad and says, "By the way, as a moment of formality, we have this for you." And he hands Toad a temporary digging permit.
Toad takes it.
This is to retroactively justify all of the changes that you have done to the tunnel. We will not pursue criminal charges to them, however, we will pursue reparations.
Toad just nods. He does not know what reparation means.
On the plus side, it looks like our tunnel building schedule is way ahead of schedule, which means that we will possibly have funds available for other things. The other gnomes just like, they get misty-eyed at this. It's just like, oh my goodness, we actually have extra in the budget?
We get a break?
I know, right?
Maybe even a break room.
All right, Billy then looks to Toad and says sternly, "This is the Swerfniblain toll booth. We are going to continue on in order to start explaining the situation. You will go through the proper channels in order to pass through the toll booth. Is this understood?"
Toad just nods, like, yes.
Yep.
Very well. With that, we will withdraw. And well, Pep is just like, why am I standing alongside them?
They were your size, Peps.
Pep just looks up and says, they were my size, weren't they?
When they head out, Toad's gonna hand the permit over to Terry. And just Terry thinks for a minute and goes, we could just keep going through this whole road. It's fairly easy to forge, looking at the permit and seeing the handwriting. Yeah, incredibly easy to forge.
Zan and Ert, what is your final decision for the session?
I mean, if you want to forge it, go ahead and forge it.
Yeah, whatever. Ert's just like checked out at this point. He's like, he's caused 2 cave-ins in a row.
He's just like, I'm a dwarf and I love digging a tunnel, but I caused 2 cave-ins. I just want to get out of this tunnel.
I have killed a lot of people and not on purpose. This sucks.
Terry just kind of looking at both of them, looking so defeated, and just Terry just let's just do this the easier way and go through the proper channels.
Yep.
We have the paperwork. If the reparations are high, maybe I can work out a few favors.
You can come out of York's portion. He ate a lot of pie.
That reminds me, he looks, he pays Zann for Pep and York's work.
Then we'll divvy it out appropriately. Gives Farron some too.
And Toad, of course says, fairy support beam. Terry kind of understands and goes to Zann and just goes, how much for Farron's work?
We'll throw another 100 on top.
All right. And he just hands it over. He's not going to fight it.
Okay. Deducting. All right. And with that, the party is finally apparently browbeaten into taking the peaceful option.
Terry would have picked the peaceful option anyways.
Well, I know you would have. That was the entire reason that I split the party.
Party and then punish us for taking a combat route.
It wasn't even that it was a combat route. Anywho, with that, we are going to end the session off with Terry finally engaging in negotiations with the Sverfniblin.
Yay.
Yay.
Apologies for being so mean to you, but those dice really were fucking spicy.
They really were. We saw something like 4 ones this session.
I just have to ask, did Terry just make it by that meeting by the skin of his teeth?
Pretty much.
Thank God, as long as he got by.
Speaking of which, I also want to point out that I had an entire list of things that could happen in the tunnel. You encountered, like, 3 out of the 10 that I had written. Like,
I would love to know what the other ones were.
The number 2 on the list was underground water, which required you to go into crisis mode. It could have caused casualties, and it also could have caused a loss of runic energy. There were also toll booths where you could do a persuasion, intimidate, or call in a hook in order to get past them, or you could use violence. Then there was someone comes up to you with a side quest begging for help. How do you make them go away?
And instead, we just rolled cave in twice.
Yes. Other things on the list, there was a booze caravan where you could have lost a small amount of money in order to get advantage on your next roll. And there were also two different things where you could have stumbled upon valuable ores. If you rolled a 10, the mother lode, you would have hit an vein of adamantine, and that could have gotten you up to 1,000 gold pieces.
Erd blamed Zann for being bad at holding the flag.
I mean, fair.
Well, should we wrap it up there?
Yep, we're just about wrapped up. Sorry for being so mean to you, but hey, sometimes the DM is mean. Okay, giant nerds, all of you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.